industry anymore. When these words came out, several younger brothers were stunned for a moment. The next moment, someone sneered. Who do you think you are? Just because you say enough is enough? We don't have to show up at Shen's heavy industry anymore. Do you think you own the Shen family? Others, don't worry about that idiot. This kid hit brother Wang. Let's kill him. As he spoke, punches and kicks rained down on Lin Hao. Zhu Hu narrowed his eyes, picked up a wine bottle and threw it over. Bang! With a crisp sound, the bottle broke into pieces. Several younger brothers were also shocked. Fuck you, kid, you have nothing to do here, but you want to bring trouble upon yourself, right? Brother Wang has now come to his senses with the help of several of his younger brothers. I have to say that Lin Hao's punch was quite powerful, and it made brother Wang's nose bleed. He covered his nose, gritted his teeth and said in a slightly embarrassed manner, "Don't you two want to protect that girl? I'm going to bully her today, pin that girl down and take off her clothes." During the whole process, the restaurant owner never stepped out. Obviously, he also knew that he couldn't afford to offend the two groups of people at the center of the conflict. Zhu Hu, Lin Qinggelinji is still your girlfriend's best friend. You won't just watch her get into trouble, right? Lin Hao was controlled by several younger brothers. Although he struggled desperately, he had no way to break free. I could only roar and shout. Hearing this, brother Wang suddenly became interested. Your girlfriend is good friends with this girl? TSK. Boy, that's great. I think this girl is very pretty, so your girlfriend shouldn't be bad either, right? Come over and play with us. As he spoke, brother Wang took 2 steps towards Zhu Hu. Zhu Hu narrowed his eyes, and a hint of coldness appeared between his brows. Let Li Zuqing come over to drink with you. What did you just say? The dragon has a reverse scale. Anyone who touches it will die. Before Wang realized he had angered the young man, he patted Zhu Hui on the cheek. I told you to call your girlfriend over so that we brothers can have some fun today. This incident will be over. Otherwise, if you offend me, Wang Wei gang, I will send you to home with broken arms and legs. You. After saying this, Zhu Hui slowly put down the beer glass in his hand and said lightly, "Do you know what happens if you touch my face? What will be the outcome? Are you still pretending to be cool? What's wrong? Is your face made of gold or silver? I can't touch it." Halfway through his words, brother Wang just reached out his hand and wanted to provoke again. At this moment, Zhu Hu suddenly picked up a wine bottle and smashed it hard on brother Wang's head. Bang! Head broken and bleeding. Many diners around covered their mouths and screamed, frightened by the bloody scene. Lin Hao also widened his eyes. I never thought that Zhu Hu would be so ruthless when he did. Boy, if you dare to hit brother Wang, you are finished. You are in trouble. You are in big trouble. He is the manager of Shenjia Heavy Industry. Brother Wang has a high position in Shenjia Heavy Industry. If you anger brother Wang, he will call for someone to hack you to death in a minute. Yeah? Zhu Hu moved his lips with a forced smile. At this moment, the restaurant owner saw the blood and couldn't help but stand up. Young man, you should ask your girlfriend to come over for a couple of drinks to apologize. This Wang brother is very powerful. He is from Shenjia Heavy Industry and the Black Society. Shaolin, you are such a fool. It just drinking 2 glasses of wine? It's not like you'll lose a piece of meat. Is it necessary for your friends to make such a big fuss? As soon as these words came out, Lin Hao's eyes widened instantly. Big sister, do you still have any humanity? Even if they were wrong, why are you still speaking up for those who bullied others? Zhu Hu smiled disdainfully. Black Society? It has been many years since Shen Qinshan cleaned himself up. Now when he goes out, he wishes people would forget about his past and only remember his current identity as an entrepreneur. The following people are. He actually talks about the Black Society and their heroic deeds every day. I really don't know how to write the word death. The next moment, Zhu Hu looked at the proprietors and the trembling Lin Qinggelinji. So just because you have power, you can force girls of good character into prostitution? You can bully innocent working girls? I can't explain it to you, so you're on your own. Seeing that Zhu Hu refused to listen, the proprietors gave up the idea of trying to comfort him. The next moment, brother Wang roared. Brothers, grab your weapons and kill him. Let's see who dares. As soon as he finished speaking, Zhu Hu suddenly threw out a business card. Wang Weigang covered his head and smiled grimly. Boy, you know you need to pay money and apologize now? It's too late, let me tell you. Even if you send your girlfriend and that girl to my bed, I won't let you off so easily. I will let my brothers humiliate your woman in front of you. As soon as he finished speaking, Wang Weigang suddenly saw the business card clearly. Shen Sanjin's gilded business card. This is something only the distinguished guests of the Shen family have. At this moment, Wang Weigang's body trembled, and his pupils shrank when he looked at Zhu Hu. But before he could speak, Zhu Hu picked up 2 beer bottles and smashed them on the head. The smell of blood was everywhere. Touch me? Chapter 145. This woman is really not simple. Arrogant, so arrogant. Wang Weigang was a well-known figure in the area. After all, whenever he went out to eat, people would offer him cigarettes. The owners of these small vendors were all very respectful to Wang Weigang. Even the proprietors of Sansao BBQ saw it for the first time that Wang Weigang suffered a loss at the hands of a young man. I saw Zhu Hui being hit on the head by 2 wine bottles again. While the proprietor's heart was trembling wildly, she was also silently mourning for Zhu Hui in her heart. It's over, this fool is finished. Boy, you still dare to hit our brother Wang, damn it. At this moment, Wang Weigang was seeing himself suffer repeated setbacks. His younger brothers could no longer sit still and rushed towards Zhu Hui with their weapons in hand. Stop. Wang Weigang was shocked and quickly stopped his men. However, seeing that his men showed no intention of stopping, Wang Weigang slapped them again. It lost. I told you to stop. Snap. As soon as the slap landed, the entire restaurant fell silent. Those younger brothers were all stunned and didn't understand why brother Wang would be so cruel to attack his own people. The rest of the onlookers were also filled with surprise. What's going on? Why is the development of the plot different from what I imagined? That guy exploded 3 wine bottles of Wang Weigang. Logically speaking, shouldn't a ruthless man like brother Wang be ordered by his subordinates to beat him to death with sticks? Brother Wang, what do you mean by this? The younger brothers also don't understand what's going on. Just then, a younger brother slapped the back of his head. Oh, I see brother Wang, you mean to deal with that chick first, right? Deal with that woman in front of everyone, in front of them both. I'm going to take her clothes off right now. As he said that, he walked towards Lin Kingle and Ji step by step. Wang Weigang was so angry that he saw stars. It's not easy to keep this brother for long. You Feng want to kill me. Zhu Hui has Boss Shen's business card, which means he is Shinsen Jin's super guest. How could they afford to provoke such a person? Asshole. As he said this, Wang Weigang picked up a chair in anger and smashed it hard on his younger brother. Are you really going to kill me to be satisfied? Shit. Do you know who he is? He has Boss Shen's business card, he is good friends with Boss Shen. Can we afford to offend such a person? Wow. As soon as these words came out, countless people's eyes widened. Especially those younger brothers. They looked at Zhu Hui with disbelief on their faces. What? He is Boss Shen's guest of honor. While roaring, Wang Weigang was beating his younger brother. He made all kinds of gestures as if trying to calm Zhu Hui down. But Zhu Hui sneered and curled his lips. Whether it's someone you can afford to offend or not, don't you still offend them? Thump. These words frightened Wang Weigang so much that he sat down on the ground. Then he quickly adjusted his posture and knelt on the ground. Brother, it is my fault that I did not recognize the great man. It is my fault that I provoked you. Please be magnanimous and don't bother with me. Just treat me as a fart and let him let it go. Zhu Hui sneered. Didn't you say that there is no woman you can't play with in Zhongcheng, and no one you dare not hit? The next moment, Zhu Hui took 2 steps forward. Snap. You're just talking nonsense. So I'll give you a slap. Do you accept it? Clothes. Snap. I slap you for forcing you to marry me. Do you accept this? Clothes. Several younger brothers looked at their eldest brother in astonishment as he drove lead in front of Zhu Hui. The younger brother who was slapped by Wang Weigang at the beginning had a gloomy expression on his face. They were used to following Wang Weigang in bullying men and women, and never thought that there would be such a day. Their eldest brother was stepped on by Zhu Hui and apologized frantically. This scene was hard for them to accept. Boy, I'm going to fight you. At a certain moment, the younger brother couldn't bear it anymore. He suddenly picked up the broken pieces of wine bottle glass on the ground and rushed towards Zhu Hui fiercely. The fact that this little brother would suddenly attack Zhu Hui was completely beyond everyone's expectations. Even Lin Hao only had time to yell, Zhu Hui, be careful. Wang Weigang was so frightened that his face turned pale. It's over. It's over. If Shen Shenjin's guest was really injured by his own brother today, it would be a big deal. If anything happened to Zhu Hui, I'm afraid Mr. Shen would drag him to the construction site and bury him in a moment. Stop. Wang Weigang roared with bloodshot eyes. But it was too late. The younger brother had already arrived in front of Zhu Hui, and the broken wine bottle looked like it was about to pierce the young man's abdomen. Just then, a fragrant breeze suddenly blew. Zhu Hui only felt a flash before his eyes, and could barely see an afterimage. Zhu Hui only noticed it when the scream rang out. The younger brother who was planning to assassinate him was kicked away and flew backwards. He widened his eyes. It turned out that it was Lin Kingle and Ji who appeared in front of him. The girl's face was filled with fear, and her body was shaking constantly. This is completely different from the one that I imagined Thunder attacking just now. Yes, I'm sorry, but I can't let you hurt brother Zhu because he is sister Zhu King's boyfriend. The younger brother fell to the ground and spat out a mouthful of blood. But it be that this means saying the most cowardly words and fighting the most brutally? Wang Weigang, who came to his senses belatedly, had already rushed over and punched and kicked the younger brother fiercely. Fuck, you want to kill me, don't you? Zhu Hu, are you okay? Lin Hao had already run to Zhu Hu and started touching and patting him, fearing that the boy might get hurt. However, the young man shook his head and just looked at Lin Qinggelinji with interest. I'm fine thanks to Miss Lin Qinggelinji. Sure enough, this woman is not simple. He had long guessed that Lin Qinggelinji was the #1 general beside Liu Zuking. It would be terrible if we didn't have some means of self-protection. Don't forget that I Slotus Empress Liu Zuking lost most of her cultivation in order to find herself. But she was still able to fight 10 people alone. What's more, Lin Qinggelinji, who came to China after training in the mortal world, is in her prime. Blocking memories does not mean blocking cultivation. Zhu Hua once read a report about an amnesiac boxing champion. It said that although he had lost his memory, his skills had already formed muscle memory. So when you fight with someone, it's completely your body's instinct to fight back. Lin Qinggelinji's actions just now seem to be related to muscle memory. Okay, Miss Lin, can you tell me why you want to work in a place like this? I feel that Mr. EA has paid you quite a bit, so you shouldn't be short of money, right? Zhu Hua glanced at Lin Qinggelinji. Hearing this, Lin Qinggelinji said a little embarrassed, I don't have an ID, so Ms. EA didn't open a bank card for me. She said my salary is paid in the form of a passbook, but I don't know how to withdraw money. After these words were spoken, Zhu Hui and Lin Hao looked at each other, unable to say a word for a long time. Good guy. Ei Zumo is also a fairy. Knowing that Lin Qinggelinji had lost her memory, why did she open a savings account for her when paying her salary? How can Lin Qinggelinji spend money like this? Chapter 146, Desperado? Lin Hao slapped the back of his head and said, how about this? Come to me tomorrow and I'll go with you to get the money. Okay, let's take you home today. After such an argument, Zhu Hu and Lin Hao lost interest in drinking. However, before leaving, Zhu Hua took the opportunity to call Zheng Age. The last time Zhu Hua faced a robbery in the bank, it was this agent who came to collect information afterwards. Zheng Age is about the same age as Zhu Hua, so after they got to know each other, Zhu Hua didn't mind shamelessly bothering Agent Zheng Age a little more. Wang Weigang spoke wildly and was even disrespectful to Liu Zuking. Simply bowing his head and apologizing was not enough to make Zhu Hua forgive him. Soon, an alarm sounded outside, and the course of the case became clear. Zheng Age could probably guess something when he saw the mess at his third sister-in-law's barbecue restaurant. But when he asked about Wang Weigang's injuries, Wang Weigang waved his hands in fear and trepidation. I fell down by myself. It has nothing to do with anyone else. Please take me away. Please put me in jail. I was wrong. I took advantage of my power to bully others. I was wrong. I will never do that again. Officer, I really know I was wrong. As he spoke, Wang Weigang grabbed a few agents and asked Ace to handcuff them. The corners of Zheng Age's mouth twitched twice. Zhu Hui, are you sure that it's just these guys causing trouble here today, and no one is fighting with them or fighting each other? Are you sure? Agent Zhang, don't you believe me? Zhu Hui grinned. After recording the statements of several diners, in order to avoid getting into trouble, those people also imitated Zhu Hua's words and claimed that it was Wang Weigang and others who bullied men and women in the food stall. After a few people came in, they took a fancy to Lin Qinggelinji and asked the woman to drink with them. As a result, they started arguing among themselves. Zhu Hu and others were recording their statements when Hu Zaiji had just driven to the door of the food stall. So Zhu Hua led Lin Hao and the other two into the dark green Maybach. While in the car, Lin Hao was still discussing with Lin Qinggelinji what had just happened. Zhu Hua knew that Lin Qinggelinji's agility came from muscle memory, but it was inconvenient to tell Lin Haoming this, so he simply closed his eyes and took a nap. When the car was about to pass King GWU Street, suddenly, a van that had been waiting for a long time suddenly crashed into the car. Sizzo. Amid the loud sound of sudden brakes, Hu Zaigi swerved the steering wheel to avoid a car accident. However, a violent shaking of the car body also woke Zhu Hui up suddenly. What's going on? When I looked up, I saw the bright headlights of a van outside the window. The next moment, before Hu Zaiji could turn around, the road behind the Maybach was blocked again by two vans coming out of the alley. Zhu Hui in the car narrowed his eyes slightly, and an ominous premonition emerged in his heart. Zhu Hui, what is going on? Lin Hao in the back row couldn't help but twitched as he asked. Zhu Hui shook his head. I don't know what's going on yet, but it looks like someone is waiting for me here. Snap. The front seat of the first van opened and a stranger jumped out. He dragged a 1-meter-long steel pipe and opened the rear door of the van. He then leisurely took 2 steps towards the Maybach and knocked on Hu Zaiji's window. Boss Yu. What should we do? Don't act trashly yet, wait and see what happens. Zhu Hui was frantically analyzing his enemies in his mind. Seeing that the guy who got off the car first was dragging a steel pipe, it meant that the other party must have come prepared and had bad intentions. Could it be Mr. Shen? Master Shen found out that Su Qian didn't honestly hand over the recipe of beauty for the moon and flowers, so Lading got furious and called for people to deal with him. No, it shouldn't be this idiot. If he had the guts to do that, he wouldn't even approach Su Qian in a friendly manner to discuss the purchase of the formula. He could just find a few people to tie the girl up and pry the formula out of her mouth. Wouldn't that be easy and simple? In an instant, Zhu Hua denied Mr. Shen in his heart. Who could that be? Could it be Director Yu and those guys I met at the Binjiang Hotel tonight? It's not realistic to find people to block the door in the middle of the night, just because I showed off what more. Those people don't even know my background. So how do they know where Zhu Hua lives? Zhu Hua frowned repeatedly, but he really couldn't figure out who these guys were for a while. He could only take out his cell phone and call Yuzu King. But he didn't say anything. He left the phone on the seat and pushed open the car door. Zhu Hua, I'll go down with you. Lin Hao was shocked when he saw this. No, I'll see what they're here for. You guys just stay in the car. After saying that, the first guy to leave the van on the other side was already impatiently preparing to hit the body of the Maybach with a steel pipe. Just at this moment Zhu Hua pushed the door open, causing the guy to stagger. Who are you? The man steadied himself and sneered. You kid should be Zhu Hua, right? What is wrong with me? Brothers, this guy is Zhu Hua. Get out of the car and get him. We are here to kill you. Could they be Wang Wei Gang's brothers from before? The attitude doesn't look like it either. What's more, by now Wang Wei Gang and a few others should have been taken away by Zengage. At this moment, two people suddenly jumped out from the backseat of the van. Seeing this, Zhu Hua narrowed his eyes slightly, and the doubts in his heart disappeared in an instant. Wang Xin Ru, it turns out it's you guys? That's right. A leading woman was Wang Xin Ru, who was severely slapped in the face by Zhu Hua in Binjiang Hotel. Chen Dongyu knew that this woman had worked in a place like he say, and changed her face in a minute, so he cut off all ties with Wang Xin Ru. Originally, as Chen Dongyu's woman, Wang Xin Ru also worked as a lobby manager at the Binjiang Hotel. Now Wang Xin Ru has lost all her sources of income. While he was annoyed by Zhu Hua's behavior, he also hated the young man. What? Are you surprised, bastard? I have nothing to do with you, but you dare to tell Chen Dongyu about all the bad things I did back then. It's because of you that I was kicked out by Chen Dongyu. Wang Xin Ru stepped out of the car in high heels, her face full of resentment. If it weren't for you, I could at least get hundreds of thousands from Chen Dongyu every month. Destroying someone's financial resources is like killing their parents. Zhu Hua, have you thought about how you want to die? The next moment, Wang Xin Ru clapped her hands, and a few burly men got out of the van behind her. They were all tall and strong, and it seemed that they were not someone to be trifled with. Wang Xin Ru immediately took the arm of the person who was in the lead. A man had a face full of flesh and a sturdy build. His height alone was a head taller than Zhu Hua, who was 1.80 meters tall. And he must be at least 1.9 meters tall. Especially since the other person had a scar on his face, he looked a little hideous. Wang Xin Ru pointed in the direction of Zhu Hua and said through gritted teeth, Brother Dao, it was this little bastard who made me lose my place in Zhongcheng. I can go back to your hometown with you, get a marriage certificate, have children, and live with you, but I want him to die. If he doesn't die, I will never be able to calm the hatred in my heart. Good man, you're going back to your hometown to live? It seems that Wang Xin Ru has been hooking up with this burly man for a while. Zhu Hua smacked his lips in amazement, thinking that Chen Dongyu had made the right decision to break up with Wang Xin Ru. But he was not too worried about his own safety. I had already called Liu Zhu King in advance. If the woman heard the noise here through the receiver, she would definitely come downstairs as quickly as possible. Kid, have you thought about how you want to die? No. Zhu Hua shrugged and glanced at the surrounding vans. You guys are quite good at choosing a location. You specifically found a place on Kanji Street where there is no surveillance. Of course. Wang Xin Ru smiled complacently. After I left Binjiang Hotel at noon, I found the manager of Baihu Bank who handled the loan for Lin Hao and got Lin Hao's address from them, and I went to Kanji Street without stopping. No wonder this woman knew my address. Zhu Hua narrowed his eyes slightly. It seemed that he would have to work hard on his personal information. After moving to Jinshui Bay, he couldn't encounter such things every other day. Then Zhu Hua won't have to do anything from now on, and he will just have to fight every day. On the other side, Wang Xin Ru was still talking non-stop. To be honest, I don't know whether you are lucky or have great fortune, but you can actually meet a great man like Shen Senjin, and he even calls you his brother. But I think Shen Senjin is just being polite to you. The next moment, Wang Xin Ru folded her arms across her chest and sneered complacently. You can rely on Shen Senjin's bullying to scare Chen Dongyu away at noon, but I promise that Shen Senjin will never offend a desperate criminal for you. I'm afraid that the only way he can give you a little face and scare Chen Dongyu over the phone is already the limit. If you don't believe me, try making a phone call now and see if your brother Shen Senjin will come over. Desperado? Zhu Hua looked at Brother Dao with interest. This was the first time he saw someone introduce himself and claim to be a desperado. The knife brother licked his lips. What are you looking at, kid? People on the street call me Brother Dao. Haven't you heard of my name? Brother Dao? Zhu Hua thought for a moment. A Brother Dao who was wanted for stabbing someone a while ago and had no place to stay in the whole Zhongcheng, and could only flee in panic like a stray dog? As soon as these words came out, Brother Dao's face darkened slightly. I don't like your attitude. So I decided to break off your teeth one by one, so that you, a sharp-tongued kid, can shut up forever for the rest of your life. And you might as well chop off my penis. I can still keep my legs tucked in for the rest of my life. Don't you mean to kill me? I won't be able to live for more than a few minutes. Let alone a lifetime? Zhu Hua laughed, without any fear on his face. After all, he managed to become the chairman of the board and experienced 2 or 3 business wars in this position. Zhu Hua had long discovered that behind the bloody storm in the business world, there was far more cruelty than the so-called licking blood on the edge of a knife. In this way, the mentality of young people is also growing slowly, and perhaps it has not changed much now, but as time goes by, those close to him will sooner or later notice Zhu Hua's growth. Very good, you are seeking death. Chapter 147, Stand Up and Challenge. Brother Dao picked up a short blade from the car and walked slowly towards Zhu Hua. Seeing this, Lin Hao in the car was furious and tried desperately to push open the door. However, he was grabbed by Hu Ziji. Don't be impulsive, Mr. Zhu must have his own reasons for daring to provoke me like this. Confidence? Lin Hao's eyes were red and bloodshot at this moment. He has known Zhu Hua for so many years. Doesn't Lin Hao understand this kid's personality? What confidence does Zhu Hua have? What's more, no matter how good he is at fighting, can he beat a knife or a gun? The 3 vans on the opposite side have a total of more than 20 people, all of whom are desperate criminals, and Brother Dao is a wanted criminal. What can Zhu Hua use to confront others? If something happens to Zhu Hua later, you must open the door and let me down. Finally, Lin Hao took a deep breath. Unexpectedly, Lin Qinggelinji suddenly added a sentence at this time. If something happens to Brother Zhu, I will go down too. As soon as these words came out, Hu Ziji was stunned, looked at Lin Hao deeply, and then nodded heavily. Good. On the other side, Brother Dao walked towards Zhu Hua step by step, holding a short blade that was flashing with cold light. He really liked the feeling of oppression that this kind of torture gave to others before he abused them. But unfortunately, the miserable appearance that Brother Dao imagined Zhu Hua to be in did not occur. The young man's face remained calm throughout. Boy, do you think it's fun to act pretentiously? Or do you expect Ba Shen, the bloody butcher, to come down from the sky like a savior and save your life at this time? Zhu Hua said calmly. I still think it's better to take your life into your own hands. Dao Ji immediately sneered. Then you're probably done for today. Hearing this, Zhu Hua shrugged without comment and just raised his chin towards the other side of the street corner. Brother Dao didn't understand what the word youth meant either. Then I heard a cold voice coming from the other end of the street corner. What are you doing? Aunt Li has prepared the meal. Why don't you go home? I saw Yu Zhu King, wearing a snow-white long dress, walking towards this side slowly, with a hint of urging on the woman's delicate face. Zhu Hua, didn't you hear me? Hurry up and go upstairs to eat. Aunt Li has already reheated the food twice. If you don't eat, it will get cold and Aunt Li will have to get up from the bed to reheat it for you. When he saw Yu Zhu King, Zhu Hua suddenly felt more confident. Other Dao came back to his senses and his eyes widened instantly, obviously having seen Yu Zhu King's appearance clearly. Fuck, are you this guy's girlfriend? This guy actually has such a beautiful girl. Her friend? Well, I'm his girlfriend, so what? The next moment, Liu Zhu King raised her chin lightly and asked Brother Dao. As soon as these words were spoken, even Huang Xianru, who was standing next to Brother Dao, showed a hint of surprise on her face. Is this woman blind? Liu Zhu King's stunning beauty, temperament, and every move made Huang Xianru, as a woman, jealous. Such a stunning beauty is actually the girlfriend of Zhu Hua, a loser. Are you kidding me? The next moment, Brother Dao licked his lips, and with a hint of greed in his eyes he glanced back and forth at Zhu Hua and Liu Zhu King. You are a lucky guy, but it's a pity that you will never have the chance to enjoy this good fortune in the future. Beauty, your boyfriend has provoked my girl, and I will definitely send him to death today. We have a principle in the underworld, and that is that misfortune should not extend to family members. But if you don't want him to suffer on the road, you can just lie down and chat with us brothers about life. Maybe when I take action later, I will be a little more merciful. Hearing this, Lin Hao in the car could no longer sit still. He tried to force open the car door in a hurry, but Hu Ziji grabbed him again. What are you doing? Don't fucking touch me. I'm telling you, you're just Zhu Hua's driver, and I'm his brother with whom he has a life and death relationship. His girlfriend has come out, and now the situation is serious. If Zhu Hua's girlfriend got into trouble in front of me today, and I, Lin Hao, remained indifferent, then I would not be worthy of being a man in this life. I order you as brother Zhu Hue. Now, immediately, open the door for me. The corner of Hu Ziji's mouth twitched. Although Lin Hao's words were a bit harsh, as a man, he couldn't help but be moved when he heard them. Even though Hu Ziji had already started a family and had a wife and children. However, Lin Hao's passionate look at this moment still brought him a lot of appeal. Immorelin. Please wait a moment, maybe Miss Liu is Mr. Zhu's trump card. What kind of bullshit trump card does a powerless woman like her have? Lin Hao's eyes were red, but he still wanted to push the door. At this moment, Liu Zuking's cold voice suddenly sounded again outside. Lie down with me and talk about life. Who do you think you are? Are you worthy? A bunch of shrimp soldiers and crab generals. The next moment, Liu Zuking suddenly walked to the window of the Maybach and knocked on the glass. Lin Kingle and Ji, clean up your mess. I don't want to see these guys again in the future. After saying that, Liu Zuking directly opened Lin Kingle and Ji's car door. Strangely enough, after hearing these words, Lin Kingle and Ji seemed to be hypnotized. She was originally trembling with fear while holding Lin Hao's hand, but at this moment she suddenly jumped off the Maybach as if she had been injected with chicken blood. Lin Hao's eyes widened. What was Zhu Hua's girlfriend doing? He also planned to pull Liu Zuking aside to interrogate her. But the next moment, Liu Zuking pointed at Hu Ziji and Lin Hao. Thank you, Mr. Hu, for taking Lin Hao for a stroll nearby when there are no cars left here. You can fly back to pick up Lin Kingle and Ji and take her home. What do you mean? Lin Hao was stunned for a moment and hadn't reacted yet. Brother Dao's mouth was grinning from ear to ear. Wow, there's a beautiful girl on the bus. This trip today is really worth it. I actually have the chance to taste the beauties. Liu Zuking sneered. He raised his hand to signal Hu Ziji to drive away. The last scene Lin Hao could see was Zhu Hue, Lin Kingle and Ji and Liu Zuking standing side by side. Zhu Hue said to Liu Zuking with a smile. Are you itching to do something, or are you really waiting for me to come home for dinner? You guess. As soon as he finished speaking, Brother Dao couldn't help but call a few of his brothers to come over and semi-surround the three people. Will you two beauties take off your clothes on your own initiative and accompany us into the woods, or will you wait until we take down your boyfriend? Bang! Before Brother Dao could finish his words, Lin Kingle and Ji suddenly attacked. Shut up! The next moment, Brother Dao's body flew backwards and hit the windshield of a van hard. Brother Dao! What did you do? How dare you hit our Brother Dao? Seeing that Lin Kingle and Ji actually took the initiative to attack, several of his men instantly became a mess. They all held weapons and looked like they were ready to eat people. Lin Kingle and Ji, let's do it. At this moment, Liu Zuking said hello. I don't want to see blood today. Throw them into the car and deal with them. Yes. At this time, Lin Kingle and Ji had lost her usual cuteness and innocence, and her cold eyes made her look like a seasoned killer. The next moment, before Zhu Hue could react, those little brothers were thrown into the van one by one. Zhu Hue couldn't see what happened in the carriage next. However, it was not difficult to tell from the violently shaking car body, but the scene inside must be very pornographic and violent, because even outside the car Zhu Hue could hear the screams coming one after another. So Lin Kingle and Ji has this kind of skill. Although I've long guessed that she must have muscle memory, which can be regarded as a means of saving her life during her experience in the mortal world, but I really didn't expect that she would be like a brainwashed person and start killing at the mere command of you. Hearing this, Liu Zuking smiled brightly. No one among my people is simple. Bang, 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 bang. At this moment, the two guys driving another van realized that something was wrong and jumped out as well. And Brother Dao, who was kicked away by Lin Kingle and Ji at the beginning, also staggered to his feet from the ground at the same time. Damn, I didn't expect these two girls to be so tough. Brothers, let's kill them. Catch these two guys. I don't believe that the girl inside will dare to continue to attack. Brother Dao obviously realized that Lin Kingle and Ji was not someone to be trifled with. Is it easy to mess with someone who can kick you away? The other two drivers hurriedly walked over to Brother Dao and directed their attacks at Zhu Hue and Liu Zuking. Seeing this, Zhu Hue picked up a steel pike from the ground, swung it and said to Liu Zuking, I'll leave the younger brother to you, and I'll take the older brother, okay? After saying this, before Liu Zuking could respond, Zhu Hue yelled at the three people, Who is the big brother? Come out and fight. Wow, after these words were spoken, Brother Dao actually took half a step back. Brother Li, Brother Chen, that kid dares to provoke you so arrogantly, don't show mercy. Beat him to death. What? The corners of Zhu Hue's mouth twitched wildly. Damn, it turns out that Brother Dao is the younger brother. The other two drivers are actually the big brothers. The people against one of me, that's a little unfair. Chapter 148, Find Wang Yang for me. Okay, stop playing around, Lin Kingle and Ji. It's time to wrap up. After saying that, before Brother Dao and the other two could make a move, the door of the van suddenly opened. Before the three men could react, Lin Kingle and Ji pulled them in like a whirlwind. The carriage began to shake violently again. Zhu Hua smacked his lips. So I picked up this steel pipe for nothing. Liu King rolled her eyes immediately. Alright, stop talking nonsense, you reek of alcohol. How much have you drunk? Come back with me to sleep. The way you sleep can easily cause misunderstanding. Zhu Hua's Adam's apple moved. What about Lin Kingle and Ji? Are you going to ignore her? Lin Hao and his friends will be back soon after making 2 rounds, then they will send Lin Kingle and Ji back. Lin Kingle and Ji won't be able to sustain this state for too long, so you don't have to worry about Lin Hao being in any danger. After saying this, Liu King dragged Zhu Hui upstairs. A corner of Zhu Hui's mouth twitched, and he suddenly understood what Liu King was doing. She just wanted to get him out of the way and create a space alone for Lin Hao and Lin Kingle and Ji, but don't get me wrong. The space alone here does not mean that Liu King wants to bring them together. After a while, Hu Ziji drove back and saw that the conflict here was over and the place was in a mess, but only Lin Kingle and Ji was left there. Lin Hao could probably guess something. Zhu Hui smacked his lips and glanced at Liu King's cold back. The Ice Lotus Empress is really vicious. She wants to use Lin Kingle and Ji's complicated identity background to create fear in Lin Hao. When Lin Hao begins to doubt whether Lin Kingle and Ji has another identity, Lin Hao probably became afraid of women. By then, all those extra thoughts about Lin Kingle and Ji in his mind would naturally disappear. What the two didn't know was that almost 20 minutes after they left, a white Mercedes-Benz commercial vehicle appeared on Kanji Street. The signal source of alien life just now has appeared again, Mr. Aki. Although the signal source this time is somewhat similar to the one we captured before, it is not at the same frequency. I guess it may be a different individual of the same species as the signal source we captured before. What? What does this mean? Mr. Taki's expression froze for a moment, and he suddenly came to his senses. You mean, there's more than just one alien? It should be. Hearing this, Mr. Taki took 2 steps back and forth. Could it be that these aliens regarded China as a tourist attraction? Why did they come in such large groups? The next moment, Taki's eyes narrowed. And we may need some help. Notify the Blood Alliance over at the Little Alliance over at the Little Days Empire, and ask them to send a few martial arts masters over. Maybe we'll need them in the future. Let these Blood Alliance members enter the country as businessmen. Oh, by the way, I heard that the Ling family is trying to integrate Zhongcheng's resources to form some kind of merchant alliance. I think we can also find an opportunity to contact the Ling family. Maybe we can muddy the waters in Zhongcheng, and then it will be easier to achieve our goals. After all, those companies are fighting openly and secretly with the Ling family, so they have no chance to focus their attention on us. Isn't this a good time for us to do something? After Zhu Hui returned home that night, he didn't say a word the whole night. However, because of what happened last night, a young man secretly decided that when he moved to Jinshui Bay, he must not make a big fuss and must even keep it as secret as possible. The fewer people who knew about the move, the better. As for what happened to Brother Dao and Huang Xinru in the end, that was not Zhu Hui's concern. One is a ruthless wanted criminal, and the other is a crazy woman who wants to kill herself. Even if they died, they deserved it. Zhu Hui is not a savior, so why should he worry about these 2 people? As for Mr. Shen, he didn't get a good rest the whole night. After getting the formula, he immediately looked for someone to arrange sample production, and worked until late at night. As a result, what he produced was not a paste like medicine at all, but a powder like medicine. This made Mr. Shen very anxious. He even cursed a few technical staff as useless. Damn it, when Zhu Hui was treating Shen when at the resort, he did it all by himself and it took him an entire afternoon to make a paste like medicine. What did you guys come up with after working all night? We have the formula. A large group of professional technicians solved the problem of producing a sample product. Early in the morning, Mr. Shen stood in front of a group of technical backbones with dark circles under his eyes, cursing loudly. It was obvious that Wang Yang's analysis had completely led Mr. Shen astray. He had a preconceived notion that the formula Zuqian gave to Zhu Hui was too beautiful to shame the moon and flowers. So in his opinion, Zhu Hui spent an entire afternoon in the hot spring resort to prepare the ointment, which could even be used on Shen Wenwen's face. Mr. Shen, it's not that we don't work hard. The main thing is that the product made with this formula cannot be in the form of an ointment. His formula doesn't even say that water should be added. Several RD personnel looked at each other and smiled bitterly. Hearing this, Master Shen slapped the back of his head and said, I understand now. Maybe when Zuqian sold the formula to Wang Yang, she deliberately kept it secret and didn't tell him the most critical step of the formula, which is to add water. No wonder we worked all night and all we produced was this white powder. Zuqian and Zhu Hui are indeed brother and sister. In order not to betray her brother Zhu Hui, Zuqian still had a trick up her sleeve. Okay, now add water and make it again. I'm watching you right here. If you still can't make the moon hide and the flowers shame you today, you guys won't have any work to do in the future. All of you, pack up and get out. Hearing this, several senior engineers nodded with a wry smile. About half an hour later, a yellowish-brown paste product finally appeared in front of Mr. Shen. Master Shen stared at the things on the table and licked his lips excitedly. Is this the beauty that shocks the moon? Several researchers in white coats nearby looked at each other, their lips twitched, and they did not answer. Because according to their common sense, anything made according to that formula has nothing to do with skin care. Master Shen had no idea what these people were thinking, and he clapped his hands happily. Okay. Very good, this time I made Zhu Hua lose both his wife and his army. Let's see what their reaction will be when they are about to produce and launch the product and the patent is registered by me, Shen Yu. I think that by then, Han Zhi, who invested 1 billion into them, will have to come to me with a grim face and beg for authorization. Otherwise, Han Zhi's 1 billion will be completely wasted. After saying this, Mr. Chen ordered his men to send the product to the Food and Drug Administration as quickly as possible for 3 rounds of stability testing and to apply for a license. But half a day later, Mr. Shen was completely dumbfounded. Why can't I apply for a permit? Damn it, that bastard Director Liu has taken a lot of benefits from me. But he just brushed me off with just one sentence? Does he really think I'm easy to bully? After saying this, Mr. Shen called Director Liu. Damn it, what do you mean? Why did you return the beauty of the moon that I sent for testing? Is it so difficult to get a production license from you now? We have been friends for so many years. Are you blocking my patent? After hearing this, Director Yu on the other end of the phone was silent for a while. Mr. Shen, even if you want to produce ibuprofen sustained release capsules, you don't have to come to me. The patent for this thing has been registered 8 generations ago. Of course, you can register a patent. What did you say? What the hell? Mr. Shen was stunned. What is ibuprofen? What patent was registered by someone 8 generations ago? Aren't the samples we produced so beautiful that they can eclipse the moon and shame the flowers? How did it become ibuprofen sustained release capsules? Director Liu sighed quietly. Mr. Shen, I have something else to do, so I'll go now. In the future, if you send products here to register patents, you must follow the process. The higher-ups have also asked us not to make any special arrangements. As for the queue jumping issue, I'll arrange it for you this time since we have a personal relationship. Don't do this again next time. After saying this, Director Yu on the other end of the phone hung up without waiting for a reply from the confused Mr. Shen. What do you mean by considering that we have a personal relationship? What does it mean to have a personal relationship? Fuck it, even though I gave you so many gifts in a year, Director Liu is just an ungrateful person who can never be tamed. The next moment, Master Shen thought more and more that something was wrong and shouted at his men. Go and test it yourselves to see if the ingredients of this medicine are similar to any of the drugs in the database. 5 minutes later, Mr. Shen was looking at the analyzed and compared data on the computer with a confused look on his face. He was completely unable to utter a word. He just felt a sharp pain in his chest and his heart was about to explode. Ibuprofen. It's really ibuprofen. So what I mean is that I spent 50 million to buy a formula for ibuprofen sustained release capsules, and there are 1 or 2 chemical formulas in it that are written incorrectly. Zukion. You little bitch, I'm not done with you. At this moment, Master Shen, hoping for a lucky break, yelled at his men, quick, call BA Hua Bank to freeze the check I wrote yesterday. What? All the money has been withdrawn. Master Shen took a deep breath, his face turned completely gloomy. He gritted his teeth and said to his men, you guys, find Wang Yang for me. Chapter 149. Your son is on EV. At 12 noon, the news broadcast from the previous evening was rebroadcast. Lao Zhu and Liu Zhen happened to be at home. Zhu Hua bought a new house during this period, so Lao Zhu stayed to help. He has worked in the system for so many years and is almost at retirement age. However, Mr. Zhu had limited educational background, and although he had a lot of experience, his age became a hindrance. So Zhu Mingyuan had almost no chance of promotion. The other colleagues are also aware of Lao Zhu's situation, so generally speaking, other people in the unit don't care about him. And it's no problem if he's absent from work for a few days occasionally. A day, Zhu Mingyuan turned on the TV while mopping the floor at home. Ever since his son Zhu Hua came to Zhangcheng for college, old Zhu has developed a habit of paying attention to the daily news in Zhangcheng. Your son is right beside you. Why are you still watching the news? Change the channel for me. I want to watch My Fair Princess. At this moment, the voice of Liu Zhen, who had just returned home after buying vegetables, suddenly rang out. Hearing this, Zhu Mingyuan pointed to the kitchen. Don't you still have to cook? There's no TV in the kitchen. You were occupying the TV last night when the news was on. Now that you're busy, can't you let me watch a replay of the evening news? After hearing this, Liu Zhen went into the kitchen. Liu Zuking also followed in to help. Soon, 2 hosts, a man and a woman, appeared on the TV screen. In recent years, many private enterprises in Zhangcheng have undergone a transition from old to new, and a group of young entrepreneurs have emerged in the city according to the latest news from our reporter, Mr. Zhu Hui, chairman of the Research and Development Department of Zhongcheng Shengjia Pharmaceutical Factory, will serve as the chairman of the Zhongcheng Business Alliance in the near future. Many experts believe that this is a sign of the rejuvenation of private enterprises. It also means that in the future, local enterprises in our city will pay more attention to the consumer market of young people, and major enterprises will also tend to be younger. Bang! Zhu Mingyuan's originally nonchalant expression completely froze at this moment, and the mop in his hand fell to the ground because he didn't hold it firmly. What's wrong? Hearing the noise coming from the living room, Li Yuzhen ran out in a hurry. Zhu Mingyuan's Adam's apple rolled unconsciously. Li Yuzhen, your son is on EV. What? Li Yuzhen was also shocked. In the eyes of Li Yuzhen, a woman from a small town, someone like Zhu Hui, who was not an outstanding student since childhood and did not have any special skills after graduation, would most likely not have the opportunity to become a celebrity and appear on TV in his lifetime. So in Li Yuzhen's mind, Zhu Hui's appearance on EV was basically no different from her son being arrested for a crime. What did Zhu Hui do? What crime did he commit? He was fine yesterday, but why was he arrested today? Oh, I told him not to accept companies offered by others casually, but now he is arrested. It must be because your son is too arrogant that he was arrested. Is it not corruption or bribery? I heard that this kind of sentence is very serious. Does Zhu Hui still have a chance to get out? Zhu Mingyuan? Come on, it's all your fault. I told you that you should have a strict education since you were young, but you insisted on talking about cultivating a child's character. Now, Zhu Hui is in jail. Li Yuzhen was so frightened that she was shaking so much that she even forgot to turn off the fire while cooking. How are we, mother and daughter, going to survive? What? Hearing this, Lao Zhu was stunned. Li Zuqing also walked towards this side with her eyebrows slightly furrowed. When Zhu Mingyuan saw his wife was so frightened, he quickly stepped forward and grabbed her. Oh, what are you talking about? No, you misunderstood. Zhu Hu was not on EB because of any crime. You can read the news yourself. It seems that he has become the president of the Zhongcheng Business Alliance. Chairman of Zhongcheng Business Alliance? Li Yuzhen shuddered again when she heard this. You've only been the chairman for a few days. Why are you running off to be the chairman of another place? When Zhu Mingyuan saw his wife like this, he was also a little amused. A Zhongcheng Business Alliance is a non-governmental organization, which is basically made up of business owners in Zhongcheng. The position of president is just an empty one, which is equivalent to a medium for communication between the younger and older generations. But if this position is used well, it might be a springboard. As he spoke, Zhu Mingyuan narrowed his eyes, and a hint of depth flashed in his wise eyes. Li Yuzhen was stunned for a moment. What springboard? Fine. By the way, I remember that we haven't been back to the capital for many years, right? At this moment, Zhu Mingyuan suddenly spoke to Li Yuzhen. Hearing this, Li Yuzhen's face also showed a rare melancholy. Yes. I haven't been back to the capital for a few years. It's time to visit my parents and clean their tombstones. I married you despite my parents' objection, but I didn't expect that they would die of illness because of it. So many years have passed in a blink of an eye, and I haven't even visited their graves a few times. Zhu Mingyuan sighed, as if he recalled the scene of being driven out of the capital like a stray dog. How high-spirited and ambitious were you before Zhu Hui was born? However, he and Li Yuzhen got married only after the major event that changed their destiny. Therefore, Li Yuzhen doesn't know much about Zhu Mingyuan's past. All I know is that Zhu Mingyuan's family seemed to have been in a large family originally later, due to certain things. Grandpa Zhu Hu and Zhu Mingyuan's brothers and sisters all severed their family ties. At that time, she had just obtained her marriage certificate with Zhu Mingyuan. The two hit it off and decided to return to their hometown in Dalian Gshan to settle down. It is worth mentioning that Dalian Gshan is not Zhu Mingyuan's real hometown. It is certainly not the hometown of Zhu Mingyuan's father, Zhu Hui's grandfather. That person is actually Grandma Zhu Hui, who comes from the maternal generation's family. After reading the news, Li Yuzhen finally felt relief. She knew that her son Zhu Hui had not committed any crime, so she no longer had to worry as a mother. He led Li Zuqing and turned back into the kitchen. Zhu Mingyuan was the only one left in the living room, staring at the TV in a daze. The next moment, Zhu Mingyuan shook his head to pull his mind out of his memories and took a few more glances at the news on EV. However, why do I always feel that Zhu Hui's status sleep is a little too fast? Is there someone behind this who is deliberately fanning the flames? Zhu Mingyuan frowned. Who could it be? Shen Xinjin, or Huanan Hai? Or are both of them involved? Chapter 150, Dinner. When Zhu Hui arrived at the company, the morning meeting had already ended. During this period, Zhu Hui was transforming the RD department with renewed vitality. Zhu Hui has accumulated considerable prestige in the company. Moreover, with the previous experience of Shen Lianggong and others, the senior management has a more respectful attitude towards Zhu Hui. At this moment, Zhu Hua was planning to go to the cafeteria to eat, but he wrong informed him that Han Zhi had arrived at the company. Boss Han. Long time no see. When Zhu Hua saw Han Zhi in the reception room, he couldn't help but take a deep breath compared with the last time they met. Han Zhi's mental state was much better. If Zhu Hua had not met her several times before, he might not have been able to recognize the beautiful woman sitting on the sofa in the reception room at first sight. Han Zhi wore a purple miniskirt today. If another woman of her age dressed like this, it would seem a bit deliberate and out of touch. After all, his daughter is already in her 20s. It is difficult for women of this age to show girlishness, but Han Zhi is different. The purple miniskirt is just above the knee, and Ms. Han paired it with a sweatshirt of the same color, making her look fashionable and youthful. Coupled with that well-maintained face, at first glance no one would mistake the person in front of them as a middle-aged woman in her 40s. About to turn 50. Seeing Zhu Hua, a smile flashed across Han Zhi's pretty face. I've already told you not to call me President Han, Xiao Zhu. You're our Wenwen's benefactor. And now we're partners, there are no outsiders in the reception room, so just call me Sister Han. After all, we are in the company, so we are used to calling out to customers. What would you like to drink, Sister Han? Buckwheat or oolong tea? He ran to spot a batch of tea from outside these 2 days. Zhu Hua did not hesitate, although the two sides did have some unpleasantness at the beginning, but the 1 billion cooperation card given by the King of Medicine solved Zhu Hua's predicament at the time to a great extent. The young man could not say that he was grateful to Yao Wang and Han Zhi, but at least the initial bad feeling has disappeared. Coffee bar. Okay, he wrong. Make Sister Han a cup of coffee. Zhu Hua yelled at the door, then smiled and pulled a chair to sit down. Sister Han, how come you have time to come to our company to inspect our work today? What inspection work? It just makes me feel relieved. I came to sit with you and hand over my work to you. Han Zhi glanced at Zhu Hua in a charming manner. Even though Zhu Hua had been through many battles with Miss Five Fingers for more than 20 years, he couldn't help but shudder. Damn, this middle-aged woman wants to eat people. The next moment, Han Zhi opened her red lips and continued. At present, the license for Beauty of the Moon has been obtained. And we have already stockpiled nearly 300 million of goods. This batch of products will be launched at the earliest during the Mid-Autumn Festival along with the press conference, but the headache now is the publicity issue. Although the popularity of Beauty of the Moon and Shy Flowers is good, there is not much feedback from relevant people on the use of the product. So I want to discuss the promotion issue with you. I agree with the suggestion you made to me the other day. Let Lin Qingling from Bi Zumo's company be the spokesperson. I think this girl is very popular. She has become popular on all major search engines within just a few weeks of her debut. Bi Zumo's packaging is quite successful. The contrast between the amnesiac girl and the stunning female star makes it hard for male fans not to love her. Well, actually, Lin Qingling's debut and positioning are not really packaging. She is a real amnesiac girl. But there was no need to tell Hans Zhi about this. Zhu Hua just listened quietly at the side. In fact, I don't have any special methods for promotion. If nothing works, I can donate a batch of our products for free to some hospitals that specialize in facial injuries. Then the first batch of customers will definitely give feedback, which will cause a chain reaction in the future, and the good effects of the products can be promoted. It turns out that being a boss is not that easy. Even if you have a world-class product, you still have to put a lot of thought into promoting it. Zhu Hua smacked his lips. Hearing this, Han Zhi nodded, agreeing with this point of view. Oh, by the way, Xiao Zhu, there is a banquet tonight if you are not busy. I hope. As soon as these words were spoken, Zhu Hua, who had just taken the coffee from Hirong, paused. What the hell? Generally speaking, when a woman says there is a banquet and takes the initiative to mention such a thing, it basically means that she is planning to ask Zhu Hua to go with her. But who is the person in front of me? Han Zhi, Shen Wenwen's mother and Shen Sinjin's ex-wife. Zhu Hua coughed and almost spilled the coffee in his hand on the ground. Boss Han, I'm renovating my house recently, so I may not have time to go to banquets or anything like that. I've turned down a lot of business engagements. Forehead. Hearing this, Han Zhi was slightly stunned at first. And she smiled softly and said, You misunderstood, Xiao Zhu. You didn't think that I was going to invite you to the dinner party. Did you? Now it was Zhu Hua's turn to be stunned. Isn't that what you mean? But he didn't dare say this out loud, otherwise it would seem like he was crossing the line. I would like to invite you and your girlfriend to attend the dinner tonight. I heard that many colleagues will attend tonight. And there will also be some pharmaceutical company bosses from other provinces. Maybe there will be some room for cooperation between us. What's more, aren't you the president of the Jiangcheng Merchant Alliance now? Although you have the favor of those two old foxes, Elder Hui and Fatty Shenyu, I guess many people in the Merchant Alliance sneer at you, the parachuted president. A night is also an opportunity for me to introduce you to a few friends in the business alliance who are familiar with me. You can get to know each other first when the business alliance conference comes. These people will at least not make things difficult for you. I see. I didn't expect that President Han would take the initiative to mention that he was going to the dinner for this purpose. Zhu Hui's old face turned red, and he was even afraid to look up at Han Zhi. Damn it, what the hell was I thinking? How could I think that an old woman had feelings for me? Zhu Hui coughed twice. But Han Zhi did not urge the young man to answer. He took the coffee from Zhu Hui leisurely and took a sip, letting the strong bitterness of American coffee spread in her mouth. Only then did Han Zhi reveal a satisfied smile. How about it? Do you want to come together tonight? I'll send a car to pick you up. Okay. I'm sorry, Sister Han, it was me just now. It's okay. It's normal for young people to have certain thoughts about older women. Besides, I'm so happy that you're having such wild thoughts. Zhu Hui, what the hell? What does it mean to be happy too late? What are you happy about? A cold sweat suddenly appeared on Zhu Hui's forehead. Mr. Han, what are you talking about? After all, this will prove that an old woman like me still has some charm, right? Chapter 151, 5 Families. Hearing this, Zhu Hui grinned. Sister, could you please finish your words in one breath next time? Keeping me in suspense back and forth like this can easily make young people have wild thoughts. That's impossible. Sister Han has taken such good care of herself that if you don't mention it, people will probably think you and Shen Wen are sisters instead of mother and daughter. Loquacious. Han Zhi punched Zhu Hui on the shoulder and picked up the handbag directly. Okay, remember about the dinner you promised me. So don't stand me up. I still have to go find the Aizumo to sign a contract for the advertising shoot, so I won't disturb you at work. Okay. Sister Han, take care. As Zhu Hui said this, he watched Han Zhi leave the reception room, and finally saw Han Zhi's purple figure disappear from his sight. Zhu Hui once again let out a long sigh of relief. Boss Han is also a seductive vixen. I guess when Fatty Shen was young, he had to compete with many rivals to win her heart, right? TSK, stop looking at Mr. Z. Your eyeballs are going to fall out if you keep looking at me. At this moment, a crisp voice suddenly sounded behind Zhu Hui. Zhu Hui was stunned when he heard it. He came to his senses and turned his head sharply, only to see He Rong standing behind Zhu Hui with a look of contempt. Seeing that He Rong was actually behind him, Zhu Hui's Adam's apple rolled unconsciously, and he felt inexplicably guilty. Damn, when did you come in? I just delivered the coffee and you didn't let me go. He Rong curled his lips. Mr. Zhu, don't be fooled by Han Zhi's appearance. You should know that this woman is already in her 40s. She is old enough to be your mother. Depend on. Zhu Hui understood the secretary's implicit meaning and immediately knocked He Rong on the forehead in displeasure. What are you thinking about? You know she's old enough to be my mother. Do you think I would have any improper thoughts about MSHN? He Rong hugged his head in pain and glared at Zhu Hui in reproach. He chirped and said, that's hard to say. After all, many young people now like Ms. But I still want to remind you that MSHN is not some charming middle-aged lady. If you treat her as an ordinary older sister, you will definitely suffer. Women who can run such a large company are rarely good at it. After saying that, He Rong looked Zhu Hui up and down. Even fewer of them are fuel-efficient cars. Are you making fun of me? If you have something to say, just say it. Who are you talking to here? Farting in a coffin and being sarcastic. Zhu Hui pretended to attack again, and He Rong shrank his head and said a great lie. Boss Han has a strong backer as a lady from a prominent family. Boss Han is much more sophisticated than ordinary people, to be honest. Even for you, I think your level may not be high enough right now. So you better be careful. Don't end up playing with a mature young woman and end up being sold by her to make money. Is this ever going to end? Zhu Hui gritted his teeth impatiently. You want to be beaten again, don't you? He Rong took several steps back again. I am afraid that you will be deceived. Besides, you may not know who Mr. Han's mother is, right? Mr. Han's mother? Zhu Hui was stunned. He had hardly any dealings with Shen Jin, let alone Han Zhi's mother. Seeing that Zhu Hui was showing some interest, He Rong immediately smiled and sat down on the sofa in the reception room. Chatting at work would result in salary deductions. But who would deduct her salary for chatting with the boss at work? Do you know the 5 great families? 5 major families, what the hell? Zhu Hui had basically never dealt with the upper class before, so he had no idea of the existence of the 5 major families. If Zhu Mingyuan heard these 3 words here, he would probably sigh and then fall into deep thought with a melancholy face. You haven't heard of the 5 great families? Stop talking nonsense and dithering, just speak quickly. Zhu Hui knocked on the table as a reminder. Hearing this, He Rong coughed and cleared his throat. The 5 great families seem to have existed since the founding of China, although I have never really dealt with their people. I have heard a lot of rumors about the 5 great families from the outside world. It is said that the history of the 5 great families can be traced back to the tribal period of Huaxia. Damn, the more you talk, the more outrageous it gets. We were just chatting for a while, and you're telling me some myths? If the five great families had such a long history, all Chinese people would have the surname Wu now. Zhu Hui was complaining in his heart, but he remained calm on the surface. He crossed his arms over his chest and raised his chin to signal he wrong to continue. So the five great families have a very long history, culture and wealth. I don't know much about the others, I just know that among the five major families, there are three surnames that we are familiar with. One is your family, another is Ba, and the last one is the Li family. The Ba family was not unfamiliar to Zhu Hui. He had heard before that the Ba Zumo family was a local tyrant in Zhongha, but he did not expect that the Boi family's power was so terrifying. But what does my original family mean? Could it be that among the five most powerful families in China, there is another family called Zhu? And I wouldn't be some young master from the Zhu family who has been wandering around. Zhu Hui had a lot of thoughts in his mind, but he just shook his head. This is all from the novel, I am really. If this was really the bloodline of a top aristocratic family that had been lost, someone would have driven a row of Rolls Royces and worn black suits to welcome the return of their young master 8 generations ago. With this thought in mind, Zhu Hui looked at Hirong again. So what you mean is that Mr. Han is from the Li family? Since it is neither the Zhu family nor the Bai family, it can only be the last Li family. Hirong nodded, I guess so. Han Zichai's mother married the Medicine King and gave birth to President Han. Although President Han is a collateral branch, the Medicine King is also very famous in addition. Han Zichai's mother is not an important figure in the family, so the two are considered to be well matched. Hearing this, Zhu Hui smacked his lips. It's not like those melodramatic TV dramas where big families break up couples. That's true. The plot of forcibly breaking up a couple is indeed rare. In real life there is a poor boy who marries a white, rich and beautiful woman and reaches the peak of his life, but is looked down upon by his father-in-law and mother-in-law halfway through. Please, be practical. If the social status of men and women is so unequal, the possibility of them being together is almost zero. It's unlikely that two people would even know each other. The next moment, Hirong continued, Han Zichai herself grew up in the Li family, but you have to understand that although Han Zichai's mother is a collateral branch, she is the most important collateral branch in the entire Li family. For a period of time, Han Zichai's mother, a small branch of the family, even controlled the financial power of the Li family. You can imagine how clever Han Zichai's mother was. Han Zichai grew up in this family environment. If you say that Mr. Han is a simple character, I won't believe it even if I beat the shit out of him. Go away, stop talking about shit and piss all the time. Isn't that disgusting? Zhu Hui rolled his eyes, but he had a new definition of Han Zichai in his heart. President Han, who originally looked like just a beautiful mature woman, unexpectedly had such a background. She was from one of the top 5 aristocratic families in China. This background is enough to scare people to death. No wonder Shen Senjin, who has such high standards, chose Han Zichai as his woman. The paid chat time is over, the secretary can go back to her job. The next moment, Zhu Hui pointed at Hirong and then at the door of the reception room. As soon as these words came out, Hirong's eyes wide and immediately. And she cursed the bastard in her heart for being so heartless. I've been chatting with you for such a long time, and you didn't even give me a sip of water to drink, and you actually want to drive me away? Hirong was a little angry, and when he was about to leave, he opened the door and made a face at Zhu Hui. There is one more thing I want to remind you, Ms. Han was a famous socialite in Zhongcheng. The men pursuing her lined up from Zhongcheng South Railway Station to the airport. If you have feelings for MSHN, even if you can get past Miss Shen, the crazy suitors behind MSHN will be enough for you to handle. What's more, there are many people who want to pick up a beautiful mature woman as their wife, just like you after all. Shen Wen is old enough to date. If she becomes Mr. Han's husband, maybe she'll be lucky enough to have both mother and daughter. Damn, how can you even say something like that? Zhu Hui's eyes widened instantly. Lulu. Mr. Zhu, you go ahead and do your work, I'm leaving now. Be careful of this vixen like Mr. Han. Seeing Zhu Hui's red face and gritting his teeth, Hirong didn't want to stay in the reception room to show off and ran out. Zhu Hui stared at Hirong's departing back for a long while, then he rubbed the teapot on the table with a thoughtful look. 5 major families. This title sounds impressive, but I don't know what kind of status President Han has in the Li family. But what does this top power have to do with me? As long as it doesn't interfere with my making money, that's fine. Chapter 152. It's Shen Wen indeed. Zhu Hui stayed in the R&D department of Shen's pharmaceutical factory for the entire day. In the next 2 days, Zhu Hui plans to take some time to go to the Industrial and Commercial Bureau to change the company name. The company is basically his sole proprietorship. Naturally, I also need to find time to change my name. Otherwise, if they keep shouting Shenjia Pharmaceutical all day long, others will think that the company is still Shen Senjin's enterprise. At about 5:30 in the afternoon, Zhu Hui had just finished his work and stretched himself when Han Zaichi called him. My dear Zhu Hui, I have something else to do later and may not be able to pick up Shen Wenwen. How about you help me pick up Shen Wenwen? Hearing this, Zhu Hui was stunned. Where is Shen Wenwen? I heard that she went out to buy clothes with some of her best IES at Guantian International Shopping Mall. Did you tell Miss Liu in advance that you were going to attend the dinner? Zhu Hui nodded. I told you so. That's good, then please make an extra trip for me and pick up Shen Wenwen for me. After saying this, Han Zhi hung up the phone. Zhu Hui called Hu Zaiji, and they drove straight to Guanting International Shopping Mall. On the way, Zhu Hui also sent a text message to Shen Wenwen. Shen Wenwen gave the specific address, and it seemed that she planned to wait in the parking lot. When the car was about to enter the vicinity of Guantian International Shopping Mall, there was a sudden loud braking sound. Before Zhu Hui could react, he heard the sound of a collision against the body of the car. Bump. Car crash? After all, the Maybach has a body length of more than 5.2 meters. Even if it was hit slightly, Zhu Hui in the car did not feel it so obviously. Just a feeling of bumping. Hu Zaiji looked rather unhappy. After all, he had been driving for his boss for less than a month. And he had been involved in a car accident while his boss was still present. Mr. Zhu, I'm sorry. It's okay, there are so many people on this road, and there are indeed many blind spots at the turns. Let's get out of the car and see if anyone is injured, right? Having said that, Zhu Hui took the lead in opening the car door. He saw a small electric scooter lying in front of the Maybach. After seeing clearly the person who caused the accident, Zhu Hui was instantly relieved. How could someone ride so fast at the intersection? It turned out that the other party was a delivery boy. The guy wearing the "Are you hungry?" delivery uniform was obviously a little panicked. Brother, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hit your car. I'll try to compensate you for the repair cost. Zhu Hui's heart moved when he heard this. Forget it, we are all workers. So don't make things difficult for each other as long as you are not hurt. That's good. As soon as he finished speaking, Zhu Hui was about to help the delivery boy to stand up, but the boy's face turned pale. He staggered and fell to the ground again. Several onlookers nearby exclaimed. Why did the delivery guy suddenly faint? Isn't this a scam? I don't think so. Could it be that he got heat stroke from wearing work clothes in such hot weather? Hearing the last voice, Zhu Hui also hurriedly squatted down to check. It is indeed heat stroke. Hu Zaiji, hurry up. Send him to the hospital first. Heat stroke can have serious consequences if it is not treated in time. Hearing this, Hu Zaiji pointed at the car. Mr. Zhu, that car. The car is fine. But the people are important. Zhu Hui waved his hand and was about to drag the delivery guy towards the car. At this moment, the delivery guy gritted his teeth and held his breath and said to Zhu Hui, Brother, my order is about to expire. I can't go to the hospital. Damn, you want money more than your life. The corner of Zhu Hui's mouth twitched. The body is the capital of revolution. Brother, what will happen to your family if you fall? After saying that, Zhu Hui wanted to drag the delivery guy into the car again. But he didn't expect that the young man was very persistent and held on to the takeaway in his car tightly. Zhu Hui could only sigh helplessly. How about this, you give me the goods and I'll deliver them to you. I'll call him to inform you when the time comes. And you can click on the platform to confirm the delivery. I'll try my best to prevent customers from complaining about you. Is that okay with you? Hearing this, the delivery guy looked at Zhu Hui with gratitude. Zhu Hui was also somewhat helpless. He had been a worker himself and knew how hard it was to be at the bottom of society. What's more, my mother and father are ordinary people. When my mother was a tour guide, he used to feel sorry for Liu Zhen running around to support the family and subsidize the household income. Come, let my friend take you to the hospital. After finally convincing the delivery guy, Zhu Hui finally lifted the electric scooter from the ground. Fortunately, the electric scooter was resistant to drops and there were basically no problems. The door on the Maybach side was squeezed a little, and it probably needs to be repaired with sheet metal. Brother, you are such a good person. Zhu Hui waved his hand and said to Hu Zaiji. Hu Zaiji, you don't need to pick me up after we send the person to the hospital. I'll ask Yiron to drive another car to pick up Li Zuking. And then she can come and pick me up. After saying that, Zhu Hui turned over and rode his electric scooter towards the destination written on the takeaway. Coincidentally, the destination on the takeaway order was Guotian International Shopping Center. The client's name is Shen. Could it be Shen Wenwen? Because of the takeaway customer confidentiality agreement, not only the customer's name but also the customer's mobile phone number will be blocked on the takeaway. Fortunately, the address was written quite clearly. Underground parking lot. Zhu Hui was stunned again. It seemed that Shen Wenwen was waiting for him in the parking lot. Could it be that Shen Wenwen ordered this takeaway? If it really was Shen Wenwen, then it's really a coincidence. Just when Zhu Hui turned the corners and was about to reach Guantian International Shopping Center, a security guard at the gate suddenly stopped the young man. Sir, I'm sorry, we don't allow takeout here. Zhu Hui was stunned for a moment. And the next moment he coughed and said, "Actually, I came here to pick someone up, and I bumped into a delivery guy on the way. He said his order was about to expire. So I decided to be a good person and help him deliver it." "Hello, security guard, this is the takeaway he ordered. Let him in." Before Zhu Hui finished speaking, he heard a familiar voice coming from the parking lot. It's Shen Wenwen indeed. It's just that the two sides were some distance away from each other, and Zhu Hui was not a stunningly handsome man. Shen Wenwen's attention was not on Zhu Hui, so she did not recognize the young man at first sight. Zhu Hui also noticed that there were 3 other young girls following Shen Wenwen. All 3 girls were dressed quite fashionably, and it seemed that they came from prominent families. After the security guard let him go, Zhu Hui greeted Shen Wenwen with a smile. "Haven't seen you for a long time." After these words were spoken, Shen Wenwen's eyes widened. The girl obviously didn't guess that the takeaway would be delivered by Zhu Hui. At this moment, a girl in a red dress next to Shen Wenwen spoke in displeasure. "Hey, you stinky delivery man, who are you flirting with? Put the food down and leave immediately. Why don't you take a piss and look at yourself in the mirror? Why are you flirting with our Wenwen? Are all the delivery men these days ordinary men?" As she said that, the girl pretended to take the thing from Zhu Hui's hand. It was Shen Wenwen who quickly stood in front of Zhu Hui. "Sister Guan Xin, you misunderstood. This is my friend, Brother Zhu, the one I just told you would come to pick me up." "Your friend?" A girl called Sister Guan Xin then looked Zhu Hui up and down. He was dressed in ordinary clothes and had an ordinary appearance. Since when did Shen Wenwen start to have such an ordinary friend? The next moment, Shen Wenwen said to Zhu Hui with a red face, "Brother Zhu, could you please wait for me for a moment? I have my period and need to go to the bathroom." Zhu Hui was stunned. "Come on, that period?" The next moment, Zhu Hui realized what Shen Wenwen had asked the delivery man to deliver. "I heard that Guanqian International Shopping Center is a high-consumption place, and I guess women's intimate products like this are probably not sold there, so Shen Wenwen asked someone to deliver sanitary napkins." "Okay, it's okay, I'll just wait for you here." Zhu Hui coughed twice and quickly handed over the thing in his hand. Shen Wenwen was probably a little anxious. She briefly introduced Zhu Hui and the 3 friends around her, then hurried off in another direction. As soon as Shen Wenwen left, the atmosphere between the few people became cold. The 3 women looked at Zhu Hui with arrogant expressions from time to time. "I think he is guessing Zhu Hui's identity. Boy, what is your relationship with Wenwen? How far have you two progressed?" Chapter 153. Is that his car? At this moment, Sister Guan Xin suddenly asked Zhu Hui. Hearing this, Zhu Hui's mouth twitched. "What's the development between me and Shen Wenwen?" "There is no development between the two of us, okay? Beauty, I think you may have misunderstood Shen Wenwen, and I don't have any other relationship. It was Sister Han Zhi who asked me to come." "Sister Han Zhi? Can you just call her Aunt Han casually to get close to her?" Before he could finish his words, Guan Xin interrupted Zhu Hui with a sneer. "I understand you just want to rely on your relationship with Aunt Han to develop a relationship with when you must have read too many novels and think you can become Aunt Han's son-in-law, right? When did I ever think of this?" However, Guan Xin did not give Zhu Hui a chance to explain, and continued lightly. "You'd better keep your distance from our Wenwen in the future. You are a delivery boy, you are not worthy of our Wenwen. I think you should have this self-awareness." After saying that, Guan Xin raised his chin towards the electric scooter parked outside the parking lot. "Us get lost if Wenwen asks me about this later. I'll say you had something to do and left first. I'll delete Wenwen's contact information when I get home today. You two shouldn't contact each other in the future. I'll be good for both of you." As soon as these words came out, the corners of Zhu Hui's mouth twitched wildly again. "Sister, are you meddling too much? Does Shen Wenwen need to report to you who she makes friends with?" "What? You look a little unconvinced." Zhu Hui frowned. "It's not that I'm not convinced. I just think you're being too nosy. Shen Wenwen is an adult. She has the right and qualification to choose who to be friends with or who not to be friends with. And one more thing. I have to attend a dinner today. What would it mean if I leave now?" "Dinner?" Guan Xin sneered when she heard this. "You kid actually plan to go to the Southern Medicine Alliance's dinner today? If you go, I'm afraid the security guard won't even let you in. I told you, you'd better know yourself. Shen Wenwen and Aunt Han are not people you can reach. Why is this woman so hostile to me?" Zhu Hui frowned. "It is said that even a clayman can have temper. Not to mention that Zhu Hui is a young man full of vigor and vitality." For Shen Wenwen's sake, Guan Xin's shouting at Zhu Hui could be ignored at first, but it could not be repeated again. "Whether I can enter the banquet hall or not, it shouldn't have anything to do with you, right?" "What?" As soon as these words came out, Guan Xin's face suddenly darkened. "Who do you think you are to speak to me like that? What? You are only allowed to fart in your coffin." Being sarcastic, "But you are not allowed to say a few words?" Zhu Hui rolled his eyes. Who was he fighting with here? Disrespectful and outrageous. Guan Xian pointed at Zhu Hua with a sullen face. I, Guan Xian, am a rookie in the Chamber of Commerce. I am one of the few talented people who have entered the Chamber of Commerce under the age of 30 this year. Who do you think you are? Do you have the right to talk to me like this? I'm kindly advising you to leave Shen Wenwen for your own good. Zhu Hui curled his lips. Miss Guan, please don't worry about these. After saying this, Shen Wenwen happened to walk over from not far away. Brother Zhu, sister Guan Xian, what are you talking about? Seeing Shen Wenwen approaching, Guan Xian finally restrained her arrogance but still pointed at Zhu Hui. We didn't talk about anything, but just now your brother Zhu told me that he couldn't accompany you to the dinner tonight. It would be bad to waste such a good opportunity. How about I drive and we go together later? Brother Zhu, are you not going to attend the dinner tonight? A trace of disappointment flashed across Shen Wenwen's pretty face. Guan Xian glanced at Zhu Hui arrogantly, and that look seemed to be reminding Zhu Hui that if you had to know what's best for you, you'd better get out of here. Our circle is not one that a loser like you, who delivers takeout, can force your way into. However, Zhu Hui said calmly. Oh, that's not the case. It's you, Sister Guan Xian, who misheard me. I've already promised Sister Han Zhi. So how could I not accompany you today? Hearing this, Shen Wenwen was delighted and breathed a sigh of relief. I knew Brother Zhu wouldn't stand me up. As the words fell, Guan Xian's face turned gloomy, and she mouthed something to Zhu Hui. It is not difficult to tell from lip reading that the woman said something. Act recklessly. It seems that Guan Xian has been thinking about the young man because of Zhu Hui's rejection. However, Zhu Hui did not take it to heart. He was just meeting a stupid woman by chance, and she was so arrogant if the so-called circle she mentioned consisted of only women like Guan Xian. Even without Guan Xian's reminder, Zhu Hui instinctively didn't want to get close. Of course, now Zhu Hui understood why this woman was so hostile to him, judging from her attitude and her persistent words. Guan Xian probably wanted to attend today's dinner, but the number of places was limited. His presence undoubtedly killed Guan Xian's chance of attending the dinner. That's why this woman is unwilling to accept this and keeps threatening and showing contempt. Mother Zhu, let's go now. My mom should be done with her work and leaving soon. After saying this, Guan Xian gritted her teeth and interrupted. When, how about I drive you? It's still very hot on a hot day like this. E-scooter? Who told you that we are going to ride an electric scooter? Zhu rolled his eyes. However, Guan Xian sneered and glanced at the young man. Her pairs of eyes here saw you riding your electric scooter here. Can you still make excuses? Does it require a car to deliver a child these days? Although Guan Xian would not openly mock Zhu Hui when Shen Wenwen was around, she was still quite sarcastic. Hello, Hirong? Are you here? Just then, Zhu Hui's cell phone rang. My car is here. Let's go. After saying that, Zhu Hui led Shen Wenwen outside. Seeing this, Guan Xian glanced at Zhu Hui coldly. Show off? Even if you really have a car, can it be better than my BMW 5 Series? With this thought in mind, Guan Xian also followed and sent it out. I'll see you off, it's been a while since we last met. I'll bring some good tea to your house later. It has been a while since I last visited Han. Sure. On the way out of the parking lot, the two women chatted idly. Zhu Hui glanced at Guan Xian out of the corner of his eye. He was of course well aware of the purpose of this woman sending them both out. It was simply to see if he really had a car. If it was of too low a grade, he would surely be mocked. Just then, a Mercedes-Benz G outside the door attracted the attention of several people. Hey, this is the latest model of Mercedes-Benz G-Class. This one costs 2 to 3 million. Look at the class of people who come to Boitian International Shopping Center to shop. Sometimes I feel that my BMW 5 Series is a low-end car in such a place. Guan Xian noticed a white luxury car and immediately spoke with a smile. The implicit meaning of her words was undoubtedly sarcastic, implying that Zhu Hui was not qualified to be in the so-called circle she mentioned. How could a loser who rides an electric scooter be qualified to be friends with Shen Wenwen? However, when he heard this, Zhu Hui raised his eyebrows. A car is nothing more than a means of transportation. A Santana worth tens of thousands of dollars can still give you a sense of petty bourgeoisie behind a luxury car worth millions of dollars. The owner may not be happy. There is no need to show off or compare with others. It's just that when you want to show off, you may need a luxury car. In fact, a car worth millions may not be as good as a car worth tens of thousands of dollars in terms of riding. As soon as these words came out, Guan Xian sneered. TSK. You're talking like you own a luxury car. You, Ray, not the owner. So how do you know what the owner thinks? You haven't even driven a few cars. And you're commenting on them here. Zhu Hui really wanted to ask back, how do you know I haven't driven one? But his life motto flashed through his mind. Don't argue with idiots. At this moment, Shen Wenwen finally heard something wrong. Just about to speak. Suddenly, the door of the G-Class that attracted the attention of several people opened. Irong jumped out of the car. Mr. Zhu, it's time for the secretary to get off work. I drove you today. So I should get overtime pay, right? What? Mr. Zhu? Who is it? Which girl is talking to whom? Guan Xin and the other two girls were all stunned. Av. At this moment, Zhu Hua smiled and led Shen Wenwen directly into the car. Let's go. Seeing this scene, Guan Xin, who had been mocking Zhu Hua's ignorance in her heart, was shocked and instantly became stunned. Is that his car? At this moment, Guan Xin felt her face burning. Chapter 154. Posture Payment. It was not until Zhu Hua and Shen Wenwen disappeared for a long time that Guan Xin came to her senses, with a look of shock still on her face. That car actually belonged to that guy. How is that possible? How could a delivery boy like him afford $1 million luxury car? Guan Xin still had a preconceived notion about Zhu Hua, thinking that this guy was just a poor loser. How can a loser drive such an expensive car? I think it was the car sent by President Han. Maybe the driver just knew the guy. Another friend of Guan Xin nearby echoed. Judging from the look on his face, he seemed unwilling to believe that it was Zhu Hua's car. Of course, in fact, the car was not Zhu Hua's. Whether it is the Maybach that whose IG usually drives or the G-Class that he wrong drives today, strictly speaking, they both belong to the RD department of Shen's pharmaceutical factory. But Zhu Hua is the boss of the RD department, which means that all the assets of the RD department belong to him. Ah, I almost got tricked by that kid. I have never ridden in the latest Mercedes-Benz G-Class. I don't know how he, a lucky loser, got the favor of Aunt Han. He is qualified to accompany when went to a dinner of this level. Aunt Han even sent him a car. Guan Xin stomped her feet in dissatisfaction, her face full of jealousy. We must stabilize our relationship with Aunt Han. Let's go give her some tea in a couple of days and get some information. I heard that Aunt Han is very familiar with the new president of the Chamber of Commerce. Maybe when I join the Chamber of Commerce, I can use Aunt Han's power to get to know a few more awesome people. After saying that, Guan Xin glanced in the direction Zhu Hua and the others left. Isn't it just luck that Aunt Han has favored you? What's so great about that? In this society, only the connections, resources, and background that you have earned yourself can be used by you. How can you be considered a talent by relying on the relationship between Shen Wenwen and Aunt Han to bully others? Just a loser delivering takeout. If Zhu Hua was still present and heard Guan Xin's words, he would probably laugh himself to death. When did I start to take advantage of the power of others? Aren't you the one who's always been aggressive? Moreover, if Guan Xin finds out that she is the so high and mighty president of the Chamber of Commerce that he mentioned, I wonder how this proud woman will react. After getting in the car, Shen Wenwen greeted Li Zuking first. After all, Zhu Hua was a tall man of 1.80 meters, and the back seat was still a bit cramped. The G-Class was really outrageous. From the outside, the body of the car looked huge, but the actual seating space in the car was pitifully small, except for the front seats. The back seats can only be described as horrible. The two women, Liu Zuking and Shen Wenwen, sat in the back, and their straight legs were unable to stretch out. Zhu Hua turned his head and glanced at his wife, and a flash of surprise suddenly flashed in his eyes. Why are you dressed so formally today? Liu Zuking was seen wearing a red dress from somewhere, with her long black hair falling naturally like a waterfall, giving her a unique sense of pure beauty. However, to Zhu Hua's surprise, Liu Zuking always took a conservative approach in her impression. Unexpectedly, today, under the instigation of someone, she actually wore a long skirt with a low-cut design. The snow-white area on her chest looked like goose feathers, which always attracted Zhu Hua's attention. Hearing this, Liu Zuking's pretty face turned red. She glared at Zhu Hua but said nothing. Shen Wenwen, who was standing by, exclaimed in amazement, "Sister Zuking's look today is simply stunning." Okay? If I were a man, I would probably want to snatch your girlfriend from you. As she spoke, Shen Wenwen was the first to laugh. Liu Zuking also spat softly. Doesn't it look good? If it doesn't look good, should I go back and change into another piece of clothing? Who says it doesn't look good? It looks very good, so beautiful that it's bubbling. Zhu Hua joked with a smile, but his eyes never left the snow-white color. Who would have thought that beneath Li Zuking's usual flowing white dress and ancient costume, she actually hid such a large scale? Aunt Li said that tonight is a formal occasion, so she asked me to change into something more formal. However, I don't have any other clothes, so I can only ask Zhu Qian for help. She picked out her favorite outfit, saying it was a battle robe that could kill men. A battle robe to kill men. Good job. Zhu Hua secretly exclaimed that he was awesome. He didn't expect that Li Zuking would not listen to what he said. Li Zuking would actually listen to the slander of Zhu Qian in the future. If we want to live an interesting life, well, we still need Zhu Qian to help give advice to sister-in-law Liu Zuking. Isn't it ugly? I noticed that the eyes of several people in the carriage seemed to be always on me. Even though the Ice Lotus Empress Li Zuking was a little shy by nature, She herself didn't know what happened if it were in the past when she was in the profound Yan continent. She would never have worn such clothes. Even though she was wearing golden armor and a phoenix hairpin and dressed fancy, no one dared to say anything. Of course, at that time, the Ice Lotus Wing Liu King probably wouldn't care about other people's opinions. If anyone dared to say anything, she would just kill them. Why would the Ice Lotus Empress, whose words are law, care about what others think? You're really not bad looking, Sister Zhu King. Didn't you see that Brother Zhu's eyes were wide open? I think you're the most eye-catching among all the girls present today. Brother Zhu will have a lot to do tonight. Tonight? Zhu Hu has suddenly lost his mind. He glanced at the two women in the back row with a playful smile. Shen Huanwen, I thought you were an honest girl, but I didn't expect you also like to make dirty jokes. But it would be nice if I could find a chance to have some intimacy with Liu Zhu King today. I've been feeling a little hot lately, and the doctor said I need some sex to detoxify. Zhu Hu thought with a smirk in his heart. But when these words came out, Shen Wenwen was a little confused. What, Brother Zhu? What are you talking about? I mean, if Sister Zhu King goes to the venue, she will probably attract a lot of admirers. When that happens, the only man in our group must protect Sister Zhu King. Did you misunderstand me? Forehead. Yirong, who was driving, couldn't help but laugh. First, she even misunderstood that Zhu Hui and Shen Wenwen's mother Han Zihi were having an affair. When it comes to the ability to make dirty jokes, the three people in the car combined are no match for her. Yirong alone. The secretary knows best what the boss Zhu Hui is thinking. Damn it, drive your car properly, shut up, and don't make any noise. Hey, Yirong, where did you park your car when you came here? Why are there so many small cards in the car? At this moment, Zhu Hui suddenly pointed to the storage box. There were more than a dozen colorful little cards in it. People who didn't know would think that Yirong was planning to find a part-time promotion job after get off work. Yirong said a grieved lie. I don't know either. You asked me to come pick up Miss Liu, so I quickly found a car and came here. I don't know who in the company drove this car out last time. I guess it must be that person who left the small card, right? TSK, TSK. TSK, flirty girl, mature lady, teenage school girl. Zhu Hui took a quick look and realized that although he lived with Liu Zhu King all day long, the most they did was hug each other in the Ice Lotus Empress's mind. She had not yet developed to the point where she could sleep with Zhu Hui. Zhu Hui grinned wickedly and quietly scanned the QR code on the small card. Anyway, it says on it that it's a live broadcast, so it shouldn't be illegal to just take a look. Right? The carriage then fell into silence. Liu Zhu King glanced at Zhu Hui's movements out of the corner of her eye. The young man thought that his subtle little movements were flawless. But in fact, Liu Zhu King had already seen everything. Bust your payment? With the first deposit of 19.8, you can enter all the live broadcast rooms? Zhu Hui's Adam's apple rolled unconsciously and he paid at the speed of light. He also turned the volume of his phone to the minimum. Liu Zhu King in the back seat looked at him with increasingly cold eyes, but Zhu Hui didn't realize that he was playing with fire. The next moment, when he finished recharging and entered a live broadcast room, he was dumbfounded. Green Lib broadcast, create a harmonious society. Now let's talk about the required questions in previous years for students taking the postgraduate examination, ideological and political. What the hell? What students are taking the postgraduate entrance examination? What ideological politics? Isn't this a paid lib broadcast room? How did it become a payment method for knowledge? If I were so eager for knowledge, would I still be just an ordinary undergraduate? 5 minutes later. Zhu Hui fell completely silent. He picked up the small card and read it over again. The cover was a bit messy, but the back was clearly written in small print, paving the way for the student's future. Ki Hang postgraduate entrance examination training class will make your life no longer confused. Fuck. At this moment, even with Zhu Hui's state of mind, he couldn't help but swear. Is this how you play? Liu Zhu King in the back row had already witnessed the whole process with her extraordinary eyesight. Seeing Zhu Hui's furious expression, Liu Zhu King pursed her red lips and chuckled twice. This bastard. It turns out that he was fooled by false propaganda. Yirong also glanced at the screen of Zhu Hui's mobile phone, and immediately said with a smile, "What's the matter, Mr. Zhu? Oh, you didn't scan the QR code above to download the app? TSK TSK TSK. TSK, TSK, TSK. Mr. Zhu, Miss Liu is still in the car, no matter how impatient you are. You shouldn't. Shut up." Zhu Hui's old face turned red and he coughed. But the next moment, Zhu Hui's actions shocked the three people in the car. He immediately dialed the customer service center. "Hello, I would like to apply for a refund for minors. Liu Zhu King. Be wrong. Shen Wenwen." Chapter 156. Secretly making things difficult. By the time they arrived at the venue, it was already 8:30 in the afternoon. The traffic volume during the peak hour after get-off work in Zhongcheng was still quite exaggerated. Even though Yirong took the highway twice, he still couldn't avoid the traffic jam. When they arrived, the outside of the venue was already filled with luxury cars. There are Bentleys, Rolls-Royces, and even Maybachs of the same model as the ones Zhu Hui usually rides. They are numerous and can be seen everywhere. Zhu Hui couldn't help but smack his lips, feeling deeply moved that the entrance of this venue was comparable to a small auto show. Shen Wenwen chuckled twice. Let's go. Most of the people here tonight are bosses from other places. Many of them want to make friends through this dinner. I heard that if we are lucky, the mayor will also come. Will the mayor be here? Zhu Hui was suddenly shocked. Yeah, after all, it is a semi-official event of our Zhongcheng. If promoted properly, it may even help attract investment. It is normal for the mayor to show up. Hearing this, Zhu Hui smacked his lips. The mayor of Zhongcheng is a big shot. As they spoke, several people were about to walk towards the center of the venue. At this moment, a tall figure not far away noticed Shen Wenwen and came over with a smile. Wenwen, long time no see. Is the injury on your face okay? Thank you, Brother Haowen, for your concern. I'm basically fine now. After saying that, the young man called Brother Haowen noticed Liu Zuqing beside Zhu Hui out of the corner of his eye, and a hint of surprise flashed in his eyes. There was nothing he could do. Liu Zuqing's appearance in such a public occasion was simply an overwhelming presence, and it was hard not to be noticed. This beauty seems unfamiliar. Wenwen, is she your friend? Li Haowen looked up and down at Liu Zuqing, the beauty in the red dress, who was almost the most beautiful among all the other girls. Chen Wenwen noticed the strangeness in his eyes and quickly coughed and said, Brother Haowen, this is my sister Zuqing. And this is my brother Zhu. They are a couple. To be honest, I should thank them for restoring my appearance. Otherwise, I might still have to rely on Gus to cover my face and not go out of the house. And Li Haowen looked at Zhu Hui and Liu Zuqing with a little surprise. But when he heard that Liu Zuqing was currently taken, a hint of unwillingness flashed through his heart. Where is this brother working? Wenwen and I are childhood friends. The fire has left Wenwen with a dark shadow. I have tried to comfort her many times, but it was in vain. If it weren't for your help, Wenwen might not have gotten over it yet. I want to thank you too on Wenwen's behalf. If you two need my help in Zhongcheng in the future, please feel free to speak up. As long as I, Li Haowen, and do my best, I will spare no effort. Hearing this, Zhu Hui narrowed his eyes. Why is this kid trying to steal the show here? The purpose of deliberate expression is indeed a little too obvious. Father Zhu is currently in charge of my father's Shen family pharmaceutical factory. Before Shen Wenwen finished speaking, Li Haowen curled his lips. In my mind, I immediately labeled Zhu Hui as someone who was doing me a favor and then demanding repayment. It turns out that he was working under Master Shen. I guess it was because of the relationship he had with Wen that he was recruited by Master Shen into the R&D department of Shen's pharmaceutical factory. I see. Brother, let me introduce myself. My name is Li Haowen, the son of Li Xinguang, a pharmaceutical leader. If you can't make it in the Shen's pharmaceutical factory in the future, you can come to our company, and I will find you a job. Hearing this, Zhu Hui nodded slightly, although he knew what Li Haowen was thinking. He just wanted to perform well in front of the beautiful woman. But Zhu Hui is too lazy to argue with him. After all, as the saying goes, don't hit someone who smiles at you. Thank you very much, brother. If I can't make it in the Shen family pharmaceutical factory in the future, I will come to you for help. Is there anything else? If not, we'll proceed. Li Haowen originally thought that this was the moment to introduce himself. The stunning beauty next to Zhu Hui would look up to her a little, but in fact, she didn't. Liu Zuqing just raised her eyelids slightly and poked Zhu Hui's arm inconspicuously. Brother Haowen, let's go into the venue first and talk about the past later. After saying that, Shen Wenwen led Zhu Hui and Liu Zuqing towards the venue. Li Haowen looked at the back of the lady in red dress unwillingly, and a hint of strong possessiveness flashed in his eyes. What's wrong? Brother Haowen, are you moved? The two younger brothers beside him immediately came up and asked with a grin. Li Haowen was also outspoken. The Orioles are singing on the river island. The gentleman is looking for a beautiful lady. She is indeed very charming. If Brother Haowen likes a woman, just snatch her away. A younger brother immediately jumped out and said, how about I find a chance to talk to that guy alone later and make him leave that beauty obediently? No, this guy has done a favor to Wenwen's family. If he is too tough, he might offend Mr. Shen, although Shen Xinjinjin doesn't like to be forced to repay a favor. The other party has done a favor to the Shen family. If we alarm Master Shen, it will be embarrassing for everyone. Li Haowen pondered for a moment. Find an opportunity to create some trouble for this kid. Arrange to people to cause trouble in the venue. When Shen Wenwen and the others can't handle it, I will step forward and be considered a hero saving a beautiful girl. Hearing this, the two younger brothers suddenly clapped their hands. That's great. Although the plot of a hero saving a beautiful girl is old-fashioned, women still love it. There is no harm without comparison when the woman sees that her boyfriend can't protect herself, but it is Brother Haowen who saves her. She will definitely look at you with new eyes. Li Haowen laughed. Just keep this in mind. We I'll let along and they who go over and cause trouble. Oh, by the way, aren't they the security guards today? Then block their entry into the venue. The louder the noise, the better. Sister Zhu Qing's charm is truly terrifying. She has already attracted her first admirer before even entering the venue. When they entered the venue, Chen Wen smacked her lips, turned her head and smiled at Zhu Hui and the others. If Sister Zhu Qing becomes a star, she will probably be a top star in a few minutes. And maybe she will be famous all over Asia in no time. Hearing this, Zhu Hui coughed in dissatisfaction. According to the possessiveness of normal men, most of them will not let their girlfriends go out in public. Chen Wen knew this clearly, so she stuck out her tongue. Other Zhu, please protect Sister Zhu Qing when you enter the venue. What are you guys talking about? Just then, a beautiful middle-aged woman in a purple robe walked towards this side. Zhu Hui quickly greeted him. Sister Han. When Shen Wen saw her mother, she pouted her red lips in dissatisfaction. Ma, why did you come just now? We have been here for quite a while. The company has some things to deal with after all. Beauty of the Moon is about to be launched for promotion today. Dinner is an opportunity. If we can show off a little in front of the mayor, maybe the sales on the first day will soar. Show off in front of the mayor? Zhu Hui was stunned for a moment. This was indeed an opportunity. If the mayor approves, it would be equivalent to having the most prestigious person in Zhangcheng endorse it, and the promotion of the beautiful woman who shames the moon product would be unnecessary. The city capital is the best publicity. But it's not easy to get the mayor to endorse you. Does Sister Han have any relationship with the mayor? Han Zichai gave a bitter smile. If you insist. There is, but at best it's just a friendly acquaintance. While they were chatting, two men who looked like security guards suddenly came over. They glanced at Han Zichai angrily, coughed twice and said, I'm sorry Mr. Han, you two don't have an invitation so you can enter the venue of today's dinner. What? As soon as these words came out, Han Zichai was stunned and his eyes fell on Zhu Hui and Liu Zhu Qing. You mean the two of them? That's right. Hearing this, Han Zichai's face instantly turned much uglier. What do you mean? It's written on the back of each invitation that one invitation can admit for people to tonight's dinner. There are only 4 of us in total, and you're telling me that they can enter the venue? Hearing this, the guard was not at all flustered, and said confidently, Boss Han, you must have read it wrong. Please take a closer look. There is actually another line of small words written on the invitation letter. For people from the same company can travel together with one invitation letter. From what I understand, this gentleman and lady are not employees of your company. What? Is there such a supplementary clause? Han Zichai was stunned for a moment, and quickly turned to the back of the invitation letter. As expected, she saw a line of small words on it. Han Zichai's face suddenly became ugly. Chapter 157, Incorrigible. I have a relationship with the boss of your organizer, so just treat them as if they are with me. Han Zichai was sure that among the other people present, there were definitely some who came in with an invitation letter, but in fact they belonged to different companies. The supplementary terms in small print were not eye-catching at all and were obviously an unnecessary constraint. Now the security guards actually jumped out and stopped them with such a lame excuse. Han Zichai couldn't think of any other purpose. The next moment, Han Zichai frowned again to avoid any unnecessary trouble. He took out his wallet, took out 200 yuan bills and stuffed them into the hands of the two men. Well, consider this money as my coffee treat for you. Please be flexible. I'm sorry Mr. Han. This is the rule. There is no way to make concessions. If everyone were to bring a group of uninvited company employees into the venue like you did, today's dinner would be a mess. It is our responsibility to protect all the invitees present, so please don't make things difficult for us, Mr. Han. Hearing this, Han Zichai's face suddenly turned pale. The two guards spoke confidently and even deliberately raised their voices. The commotion here had attracted the attention of many people. Seeing that it was Han Zichai who was being bullied, countless people came over with an attitude of watching a good show. Recently, President Han has been in the spotlight because of his investment of 1 billion yuan in cooperation with the R&D department of Shen's pharmaceutical factory. I wonder how many people are secretly waiting to see President Han make a fool of himself. Ever since the two guards jumped out, Zhu Hui had been standing with his arms folded across his chest, looking like a bystander. He knew what was going on and probably guessed why others could enter easily, but he and Liu Zhu Qing were inexplicably harassed. It seems that Li Hoan is really not a good person. The two security guards don't have the authority to check other people's information at will. What's more, Zhu Hui has never known these two people before, so how would they know where he works? As soon as the two showed up, they insisted that Zhu Hu and Liu Zixing were definitely not employees of Han Zichai company. This was almost equivalent to telling Zhu Hu directly that someone must have informed the two guards, which was why they deliberately jumped out to stop them. As for who it is, it's not hard to guess. With this thought in mind, Zhu Hu glanced at the crowd and sure enough, he saw a tall figure walking towards him with a frown on his face. Xiaolong, Xiaohu, what happened? Hey, MRLI? MRLI? These two guests don't have an invitation letter, and they are not employees of Han's company, so according to the organizer's regulations, they cannot enter today. As soon as the two guards saw Li Haowen, they greeted him respectfully. Countless onlookers also recognized the identity of this MRLI, and were surprised that Li Haowen would stand up at this time. Can't you be flexible? Li Haowen frowned. The two guards smiled bitterly and shook their heads. MRLI, please don't make things difficult for us, we are just trying to make a living. We have to do whatever the higher-ups say, we don't have the right to let anyone in casually if anything goes wrong. We too will be held responsible. The two guards' statements perfectly cleared the relationship. After that, Li Haowen pretended to hold his chin up and pondered for a moment. How about this? Our company's quota is not full yet. I only brought 3 people today, so I can bring one more. I can guarantee them and bring one person in. After all, our Li Family Medicine is one of the organizers today, so this should be okay, right? Will the organizer provide a guarantee? Hearing this, the guard nodded. If young Master Li can guarantee it, then we can let him in. But since young Master Li can only take one person in, who does he plan to take in? After saying this, Li Haowen felt a little embarrassed again. He glanced at Shen Wenwen. Wenwen, you decide. Haowen, have limited abilities, sorry, I can only bring one of your 2 friends in. Oh, by the way, MRLI, we checked your invitation letter. The 2 friends you brought in today are also men. This invitation letter has brought in 3 gay men. At this moment, before Shen Wenwen could speak, the 2 guards spoke again. According to the requirements on the back of the invitation, there must be a female guest among every company's guests attending the dinner. So your last spot can only be occupied by a woman. When these words came out, Zhu Hui couldn't help but almost laughed out loud. Oh my goodness. It turns out that he has blocked our invitation letter. What is this guy's purpose in going through so much trouble? He just wanted to squeeze himself out and make time to be alone with Li Zuking. Whatever you are thinking, I can hear it from 100 meters away. And Han, Wenwen, it seems that I can only help you bring that lady in. Others who shouldn't mind, right? After all, we are all here to attend the dinner. And no one expected that the organizer would have such a rule. There is nothing we can do about it. Hearing this, Shen Wenwen frowned slightly, feeling that something seemed to be wrong. As for Han Zhi, he narrowed his eyes slightly. Han Zhi was from one of the 5 great families. He had dealt with countless young talents since he was a child. He could guess what ordinary people were thinking, even with just a change in their eyes, what the other person was planning. So with just one glance, Han Zhi could see through Li Haowen's ill intentions towards Li Zuking. After saying this, Zhu Hui didn't say much, but just glanced at Li Zuking. They said I can't go in. Do you want to follow them in and take a look? I'll wait for you outside. Hearing this, Li Zuking curled her red lips. If you can't even get in, why should I go in? Just to watch the fun, then let's just go back. What? Hearing Li Zuking's words, Li Haowen's originally smug expression suddenly froze. Why doesn't this woman play by the rules? This is the highest level pharmaceutical company dinner in Zhangcheng. All the guests are dignitaries from all over the world, and even the mayor will show up. Just by going in and taking a stroll around for a few times, you can gain a lot of knowledge. This woman actually gave up this hard-earned spot, just because Zhu Hui couldn't get in. Miss, Master Li fought hard for this spot for you. Yes, if you give up, you will be giving young Master Li no face. Li Haowen also gave a sincere and consoling speech. Beautiful lady, don't be so willful. Let Brother Zhu wait for you outside. I'll take you for a walk inside. You should know that countless people are trying their best to attend this dinner party today. This kind of quota is not something you should give up casually. Is this quota very valuable? Upon hearing this, Li Zuking raised her chin inferently. Hearing this, Li Haowen thought that Li Zuking was moved and quickly said, of course. You have to know that on the black market, the invitation to today's dinner has been sold for 100,000 yuan each, and there is still no demand for it. It is impossible to buy it. Can't buy it at all? Wow, that's really awesome. However, Li Zuking sneered when she heard this. 100,000, that's a huge sum of money. A flash of excitement flashed across Li Haowen's face. Yes, so Miss Liu should come in with us, right? The next moment, Li Zuking rolled her eyes. Go in, why do you want to go in? Even if a spot is worth 100,000 yuan. What does it have to do with me? I just want to be with Zhu Hu. If he doesn't go in, what's the point of me going in alone? I just want to be with the person I like. So in my opinion, I should go with Zhu Hu. Chapter 158. Meeting MRJ in. After saying this, Liu Zuking directly pulled Zhu Hu in and prepared to walk out of the venue. Seeing this, Li Haowen was completely dumbfounded. The 2 guards originally thought that Li Haowen's plan was bound to succeed, but now seeing Li Zuking about to leave, they became flustered and wanted to rush forward one after the other to block the 2 people. What are you doing? Legs are on our bodies. Can't we walk if we want? Zhu Hua looked at the two guards with interest. These two people were obviously invited by Li Haoan to play the good guys. Anyone with a discerning eye can almost see that the three men are in the same group, but Li Haoan is as unaware as a clown. Brother Zhu. As men, we shouldn't stop girls from seeing the world, right? I think he should still persuade Miss Liu. This spot is quite precious. Li Haoan's urging voice sounded again. Hearing this, Zhu Hua raised his eyebrows. Just as he was about to explode, he happened to notice a familiar figure sitting in a wheelchair. MRJN? MRJN? Oh, long time no see. That's right, what he noticed were Grandpa Jin and his grandson Jineo. MRJN was also somewhat surprised to see Zhu Hua. Hey, Brother Zhu Hua, are you guys coming to attend the dinner today as well? Yeah, what a coincidence. Zhu Hua laughed twice. But we are getting ready to leave now. Ready to go? Why are you in such a hurry? The dinner hasn't even started yet. And the important people are still here. Why are you in such a hurry to leave? MRJN was obviously late. So he didn't see the farce that just happened. Han Zhi saw MRJN chatting with Zhu Hua, and she knew that Li Haoan's attempt to separate the two of them today was completely useless. What a joke. The Jin family is the biggest sponsor of tonight's dinner. Others may not be clear about the relationship between Zhu Hua and the Jin family, but how could Han Zhi, as a partner, not be clear about it? Oh, it's nothing. I didn't have an invitation letter, and I wanted to follow President Han in, but the organizer required that the 4 people brought by one invitation letter must be from the same company. Zhu Hua shrugged innocently, so I had to take my girlfriend and leave. MRJN was stunned at first, then he glanced at the two guards meaningfully. The two men shuddered immediately, feeling that the look in MRJN's eyes when he looked at them was a little chilling. Oh, then why are you leaving? I'm the organizer. It's okay, follow me. I'll see who dares to stop you. Seeing this, Li Haoan's face suddenly turned ugly and he winked at the guard. The two guards had no choice but to bite the bullet and go forward again. I'm sorry. MRJN, it's like this. The back of the invitation letter does stipulate that only employees of the invited company can be brought. The good dog doesn't block the road. Screw you and tell me the rules. Jin Ao, who was sitting in another wheelchair, suddenly roared in anger. There are so many guests from other provinces today, please be more restrained. MRJN pulled his grandson and then pointed at Zhu Hua. This is my Jin family's honored guest. You are my Jin family's guest. When you go out, your words and deeds are qualified to represent my reputation. Today's dinner is hosted by our Jin family and the Aihua Bank. They are fully qualified to enter the venue. If you insist on getting an invitation, I can just send him a new one later. Wow! Everyone present knew that the Jin family was the organizer. However, Mr. Jin actually said bluntly in public that Zhu Hua was a guest of honor in their Jin family, which surprised countless people. Especially Li Haoan's face looked as ugly as if he had eaten shit. This kid is actually related to the Jin family? As soon as he finished speaking, without giving Li Haoan another chance to show off, MRJN greeted Han Zhi. Xiao Han, I haven't seen you for a long time. You look more beautiful again. MRJN, you are too kind. How can I still grow younger at my age? You are giving me face by not saying that I am old. Come on. Let's go in and reminisce. After saying this, MRJN leads Zhu Hua and others into the venue. Only Li Haoan with a gloomy face and the two guards were left there looking at each other. Brother Wen, I always felt that MRJN had a bad look in his eyes just now. If we lose this job, can we go to you for help? Oh, to your mother. Li Haoan gritted his teeth viciously, squeezed out the last words, snorted coldly, and led his two younger brothers into the venue. Just now, at the last moment when Zhu Hua and others entered the venue, Zhu Hua deliberately lowered his voice and made a lip shape when passing by Li Haoan, which obviously meant a swear word. Li Haoan just couldn't stand seeing Zhu Hua, a villain, succeed. A loser who relies on treating Shen Wen for favors and asking for revenge. What qualifications do you have to be compared with me? I don't believe it. Can you keep the woman I like? The farce just now was over very quickly. And Zhu Hua even forgot about Li Haoan, a clown. He knew how much trouble Yuzu King's appearance would cause, but Zhu Hua believed that he could control the situation. Besides, even if he couldn't control the situation, would it be possible that Islotus Empress Yuzu King would suffer at the hands of others? Look. That is the seat reserved for the mayor after he arrives. This side is for the seats of the major pharmaceutical factories and pharmaceutical companies in Zhongcheng. Over there are the seats for the branches of skincare products and beauty products. After entering the venue, Han Zhi gave a brief introduction to Zhu Hua. Hearing this, a hint of surprise flashed in Zhu Hua's eyes. He didn't expect that there were so many colleagues in Zhongcheng. At first glance, there are thousands of seats for all kinds of beauty products in Zhongcheng alone. Should we sit over there? Zhu Hua touched the tip of his nose in dismay. Although he was now considered to have the final say in the R&D department of Shen's pharmaceutical factory, the scene today was relatively grand. After all, it was impossible for Zhu Hua not to be nervous. Han Zhi chuckled. If we come in by ourselves, we can only sit in ordinary seats, but today, I am taking advantage of you, Mr. Jin is here, so we can naturally get a VIP seat. MRJ in. Don't you agree? Hearing this, MRJ in laughed. Chao Han. Are you kidding me again? We are old acquaintances. If you come to me, can I let you sit in the ordinary seats like other ordinary Zhongcheng pharmaceutical companies? By the way, what happened to those pharmaceutical companies that offended you last time? Were the matters finally settled? Do you need my help? The next moment, MRJ suddenly looked at Zhu Hui, his brows filled with questions. Hearing this, Zhu Hui was stunned at first, but then he was a little moved in his heart. MRJ is polite to him now, partly because of his contribution in helping Jineo, but Zhu Hui has never thought of repaying the favor once more. MRJ has given him certain rights, allowing him, an outsider, to have a certain degree of say in BE, Hua Bank. Just for this reason alone, in Zhu Hui's heart, Mr. Jin has already repaid the favor. I didn't expect that after a few days, MRJ was still thinking about what I said to him last time on the phone. MRJ, you are too polite. Zhu Hui laughed dryly. But there's no need for you to show up. The VIP card you gave me is enough to intimidate them. What? S-War, I used my power a little bit to strangle these guys. After all, they are all local pharmaceutical companies in Zhongcheng, so they have a lot of cooperation with Hua Bank. Us block a few trading accounts and urge them to pay back the money they owe. Their capital flow will soon be stagnant if they don't give in. They will probably go bankrupt, so these guys are pretty obedient. Hearing this, MRJ clicked his tongue, although on the surface it seemed that Zhu Hui was taking advantage of Mr. Jin's momentum to step on others. Wasn't this also a reflection of the young man's sharp mind? Being able to utilize the resources around you at the right time is also a skill. MRJ, who is this? A few people had just sat down in the VIP seats when two middle-aged men in luxurious clothes suddenly came over. Both of them were obviously quite familiar with old man Jin. It was understandable, as the Jin family was not one of the top families in Zhongcheng. At least in terms of superficial financial resources, the Jin family is definitely not as good as the three great kings, Chen Jin, Yan Chun Qiu, and Hua Nanhai. However, precisely because the family controls Hua Bank and has such a bargaining chip in hand, in the eyes of outsiders, in this powerful circle, Mr. Jin is actually more intimidating than Hua Nanhai and Yang Chun Qiu, the two richest men ranked first and second. This is brother Zhu Hui, the trusted chairman of the Zhongcheng Business Alliance. This is Han Zhi, the daughter of the Zhongcheng Medicine King. This is her daughter and brother Zhu Hui's girlfriend. When he met old acquaintances, MRJ would introduce them to them with a smile. So this is the young friend Zhu Hui who was on the news a few days ago. No wonder he looks so impressive. It turns out he is the president of the Zhongcheng Merchant Alliance. The two middle-aged men also introduced each other's identities to Zhu Hui with a smile. Zhu Hui greeted politely. These are all top bosses from other places. There may be room for cooperation between the two sides in the future, at least when Xiu Hu enters other provinces for sales. Perhaps with these connections, a lot of unnecessary troubles can be reduced. Han Zhi probably thought the same thing as Zhu Hui, and they looked at each other. Han Zhi quietly changed seats with Zhu Hui and started chatting with the two middle-aged men. Those who could sit in the VIP seats were not mediocre people. Almost all of them were famous entrepreneurs from other provinces. In addition, Han Zhi was an eloquent person, so the two sides quickly got into a conversation. Unconsciously, the VIP seats around were gradually filled with people. Zhu Hui kept looking at the VIPs coming and going. Some people also looked towards Zhu Hui curiously. Of course, these people were not looking at Zhu Hui. It was mainly because Liu Zhu King's extraordinary temperament was too dazzling, so it was like she was wearing a dazzling emerald. No matter where she went, she was the focus of everyone's attention. Occasionally, there would even be one or two people who were eager to come forward and chat with Zhu Hui. But when they noticed MRJ next to Zhu Hui, they restrained their thoughts one by one. There is no mediocre person who can sit next to Mr. Jin. They'd better not go and ask for trouble. The mayor has arrived. Chapter 159. Those in charge are confused, but those who are watching can see clearly. At this moment, as the venue gradually filled up, a voice slowly sounded inside the venue. As soon as he finished speaking, Zhu Hui's eyes went dark. It turned out that the lights in the entire conference hall were turned off. At the same time, small lift tables began to slowly rise in front of each table. There are all kinds of exquisite pastries placed on it, and just one look at it will make people's mouths water. Are the basic equipment for dinner parties so advanced these days? Zhu Hui opened his mouth and stared at the revolving table in front of him for a long time. He actually didn't know how to start. MRJ beside him smiled. This venue was built for the so-called upper class to make friends. So the infrastructure is a little fancy to suit the tastes of today's young and promising people. After saying that, MRJ pointed to a figure that slowly appeared on the platform. This is the mayor of Zhongcheng City, a man who can stand in front of all the entrepreneurs and look down on them. You must remember his appearance clearly, otherwise, if a flood washes away the Dragon King Temple in the future, it will be troublesome. Zhu Hu smacked his lips and said, indeed. When he thought of this, he looked at the mayor twice more, but the moment he saw the mayor's appearance clearly, Zhu Hu's heart trembled and his face was shocked. Dad. What? As soon as these words were spoken, the cake in Mr. Jin's hand fell to the ground. What the hell are you talking about? MRJ almost thought his ears were wrong. Little did he know that Zhu Hu was even more shocked at this moment. The man standing on the podium in a suit and enjoying the attention of the audience looked almost exactly like his father Zhu Mingyuan. Even Zhu Hu was stunned for a moment. However, when he looked closely, he found some subtle differences from his father. For example, Zhu Mingyuan's temples were already gray. It might be because he had too many things in his heart, or it might be the pressure of having elderly parents and young children to take care of in middle age. How can there be two people in the world who look so similar? Liu Zuking also blinked her beautiful eyes in surprise. However, her eyesight was much better than Zhu Hu's, so she could tell at a glance that the man on the platform was not Zhu Mingyuan, but just looked somewhat similar to Zhu Mingyuan. Zhu Hu, is that your father? MRJ poked Zhu Hu's elbow, and the young man came back to his senses and coughed twice. Sorry, I was mistaken, but the mayor of Zhong City looks a little too much like my father. Doesn't he? Look alike? Could it be that they are related by blood? MRJ was stunned for a moment, then suddenly slapped his thigh. Yes, the mayor of Zhong City has the same last name as you. Zhu Hu widened his eyes. No way. Could it be that the mayor of Zhong City is some distant cousin of my father? My family has such a background. Why didn't old Zhu tell me about it all these years? At this moment, the mayor of Zhongcheng on the high platform spoke slowly. His voice was hoarse and low, but it was filled with a sense of unquestionableness. Everyone, since all of you here today are leaders in the pharmaceutical industry and outside the province, I actually have an unwelcome favor to ask of you. Of course, it's more like I want to test your abilities than to ask for a favor. Test? Everyone in the VIP seats was stunned when they heard this. A next moment, as the mayor slowly clapped his hands, a masked figure was slowly pushed up. Zhu Hui and others looked at each other, all of them at a loss. This is my father-in-law. You may not know my family's private affairs. 3 years ago, my father-in-law experienced a fire. He currently has severe burns all over his body and his face is severely disfigured. The worst thing is that the hospital can only control the wounds from spreading. But the cell damage caused by the infection is irreversible. If it continues like this, my father-in-law may not live for many days. So today would like to take this opportunity of the dinner to ask you all, if there are entrepreneurs who have done extensive research in this field, please lend a helping hand to an elderly man on his deathbed. I, Zhu Guanhui, will be very grateful. Zhu Guanhui? Is this the name of the mayor? It really is my family. Zhu Hu smacked his lips. After hearing the mayor's words, the audience burst into an uproar almost instantly. Countless people were in chaos. After all, no one expected that a dinner party would give them the opportunity to mayor owe them a huge favor at this moment. Countless people were eager to try. Han Zhi, who was standing next to Zhu Hu, also had a look of surprise on his face. Master Zhu, our beauty of the moon and shame on the flowers seems to have the ability to repair necrotic skin tissue, right? In that case, it can be used as the best golden healing medicine. Yes, we came to this conclusion when we conducted 3 rounds of internal testing. Zhu Hu raised his eyebrows. It was really like someone sending a pillow just when he was sleepy. Before this, Han Zhi had racked his brains to find an opportunity to make friends with the mayor of Zhongcheng. Now it seems like this is a good opportunity to make friends with Zhu Guanhui. Liu Zuking next to her pouted her red lips. I feel that you should observe first and don't act rashly. After all, the mayor is a well-known figure in Zhongcheng, and his connections are definitely far beyond those of ordinary people. Even the famous doctors he found were helpless. Maybe the burns can't be completely cured by just using the beauty of the moon. Moreover, if this kind of occasion succeeds, it will naturally be a good opportunity to make friends with the mayor. But if it fails, it will not only waste time, but will inevitably make countless people laugh at it. These words were like a bucket of cold water poured down on her. But Han Zhi's restless expression gradually regained some of its former calmness. Yes, Liu Zuking was right. It seems that we should wait and see what happens above. After these words were spoken, Zhu Hu nodded slightly, but he looked at Liu Zuking twice more with some surprise. Are you so unconfident about beauty of the moon? By the way, who did you learn all this from? How come your mind works so quickly? We almost didn't react. Because I have no vested interests in him, but you may have some. Oftentimes, when thinking about problems, you need to be able to stay out of it and put yourself in the perspective of an observer. Isn't there an old Chinese saying that goes, those involved are confused, but those who are on the sidelines can see more clearly? Liu Zuking smacked her red lips. The venue was very lively at the moment. She deliberately lowered her voice and leaned toward Zhu Hua for a moment. Zhu Hua could feel the alluring body fragrance of Liu Zuking in his nostrils, especially her sweet breath, which hit Zhu Hua's ears. This almost made the young man unable to control himself. Mayor Zhu, our Wanfu pharmacy is willing to give it a try. Chapter 160, Zhu Hua, you go up. At this moment, a thunderous voice suddenly rang out in the already bustling conference hall. Zhu Hua, who was not far away, was shocked. My goodness, what's this guy's voice like? Mayor Zhu on the stage saw this and looked in that direction with a hint of joy on his face. Let Mr. Sang from Wanfu Pharmacy have a try. Mayor Zhu, this is the latest golden medicine developed by our company. It has the ability to remove toxins and heal scars. I believe that if it is used for a long time, it will definitely not be a problem to control the spread of infection. If it cooperates with the hospital, maybe it can make the old man. Before Mr. Sang could finish his words, Mayor Zhu suddenly tore off the black cloth on the old man. At this moment, seeing the extent of the old man's burns, Boss Sang couldn't help but gasp. Isn't this too exaggerated? Even Zhu Hu in the VIP seat showed a look of shock. The old man lying on the stretcher had more than any of his body wrapped in white gauze, and a small ventilator was placed beside him. It seemed that the old man was at the end of his life. If it weren't for the ventilator, he might have died at any moment. Anziachai wiped the cold sweat from his forehead. Sure enough, I knew the choice when I didn't act rashly just now. It may not be possible to cure such a serious and extensive burn with just beauty of the moon. Liu Zuking glanced at Zhu Hua. If you help this person, will it be beneficial to you in the future? Of course. Zhu Hua nodded. This is the mayor of Zhangcheng. It's rare to get close to such a person in the past. If I wanted to give him a gift, I probably couldn't find a way even with a lantern. I do have a way to help that old man. Hearing this, Zhu Hua was stunned. The next moment, Liu Zuking lowered her voice and whispered something to Zhu Hua in his ear. About 2 minutes later, Zhu Hua showed a look of horror. Oh my god, is this true? Don't play with me to death. What if you accidentally lose touch with me? It's easy to get into trouble. Facing Zhu Hua's doubtful gaze, the Ice Lotus Queen made a calming gesture. Don't worry, just trust me. Gurgle. Zhu Hua's Adam's apple rolled unconsciously. Although he also wanted to believe Liu Zuking, the method the woman just proposed was a little too shocking. Get ready, believe me. This situation cannot be cured with your methods. Anzi looked at the two of them curiously. What are you two talking about? Zhu Hua waved his hand. It's okay, Sister Han, you guys stay here and watch over me. I'm going to go out and buy some things, they might come in handy later. Having said that, Zhu Hua quickly walked out of the venue. Liu Zuking asked him to choose to believe in herself, so Zhu Hua would naturally believe in women unconditionally. What? More, there is an old saying that goes, as the saying goes, fortune and wealth are sought in danger. If he can make friends with the city leader by taking this risk, it will definitely be worth it. What's more, this is also a great opportunity to promote the product of beauty that shocks the moon in flowers. About half an hour later, Boss Sang on the stage shook his head dejectedly. No, it still doesn't work. I used acupuncture and moxibustion with the product logically, even if it doesn't cure the disease. There should be some reaction, but those necrotic cells seem to have some kind of driving force, and they keep regenerating. This is something I have never encountered before. As soon as these words were spoken, countless people in the audience sighed. The crowd that was eager to move at first gradually calmed down. Countless people began to suppress their anger and wondered whether it was necessary for them to go up. You know, Boss Sang is an expert in medicine, and he has been immersed in medicine for more than 10 years. These people are helpless. Many entrepreneurs who only know how to make products and have no understanding of medical skills are not even qualified to fill other people's teeth. Even if they go on stage, it is nothing more than a formality and a disgrace. As soon as this thought came out, countless people looked at each other in surprise. They all shrank their heads back. Mayor Zhu was also silent for a moment, then he smiled gratefully at Boss Sang. Thank you for your help. Boss Sang, thank you very much. He forced an ugly bitter smile, and it was not difficult to read a hint of disappointment in his voice. The next moment, Mayor Zhu looked around at the thousands of people in the audience and opened his dry lips. Are there any friends who want to come up and give it a try? Maybe we can try it out. Don't worry. Even if it doesn't work, I won't hold it against you. Quiet. The venue was dead silent. The atmosphere was somewhat depressing, and Mayor Zhu's expression became increasingly dejected. Just then, a voice suddenly rang out. In fact, this is not a disease, so it cannot be treated according to pathological knowledge. That's why these entrepreneurs and medical experts here are helpless. This should be a poison, a pathological condition caused by a combination of fire, poison and virus. The man in the red robe slowly approached the dais. I am the second on the Blood Alliance medical and martial arts ranking of the Little Life Empire. Zumeng wants to help Mayor Zhu solve his problems. I wonder if Mayor Zhu is willing to give me a chance? Wow, After hearing that voice, the whole place was silent for a moment. Zhu Hui, who had just returned from outside, happened to hear this and immediately asked Han Ziyachai, Sister Han, what is a blood alliance? Why did these guys react so strongly after hearing that guy introduce himself? Han Ziyachai gritted his teeth and said in a deep voice, a blood alliance is an organization stationed in the Little Days Empire. It is neither officially affiliated with them nor an ordinary civilian organization. They are engaged in activities that involve stealing money and killing people. A few years ago, even the Chinese foreign military discovered the Blood Alliance's secret human laboratory. This organization not only uses prisoners of war for cruel human science experiments, but also likes to kill innocent people indiscriminately, although there is no evidence. Several serious terrorist riots in China in recent years are related to this organization. They possess the most advanced medical and martial arts technologies of the Little Days Empire. So they are feared by everyone in the Asia-Pacific region in particular. The Blood Alliance likes to seize all kinds of resources. They like to get involved in almost any resource anywhere in the world. It was at this time that MRJN interrupted with a frown. If Mayor Zhu owes the Blood Alliance a favor, I'm afraid that if it gets out to these guys, it will be said that China has no one who can beat them in medical skills. And they actually need the help of the Blood Alliance to help the mayor solve the problem of prolonging his father-in-law's life. It's a shame to tell it to others what. More, the Blood Alliance might even make a big fuss about it and fabricate countless versions of the story. Maybe it will spread like wildfire and become a rumor that the mayor of a certain Chinese city actually bowed down to the Blood Alliance for his own selfish interests. Zhu Hui couldn't help but blink his eyelids when he heard this. How could this member of the Blood Alliance be so sinister and vicious? However, seeing the young man who just came on stage with an expression of being able to plan a strategy, it seems that this guy is really capable. It is also true that similar to China, because of its rapid development, many heritages have been gradually lost in the long river of history. But the Blood Alliance is different. It has official endorsement, and its medical and martial arts resources are perfectly integrated. Moreover, the shameless Little Days Empire isn't willing to admit that the Blood Alliance is their organization. This, in turn, gave the members of the Blood Alliance a great degree of freedom of action. Even if something happens, the official Little Days Empire can explain to the outside world that it is a non-governmental organization and has nothing to do with them. However, once any interests are seized, the Little Days Empire will not show mercy. Zumeng? On the stage, Mayor Zhu's expression flashed with solemnity as he looked towards the young man in the blood-red robe. Zumeng chuckled. It is my honor to help Mayor Zhu solve his problems. Since no one has stepped forward to help at today's dinner, Mayor Zhu might as well let me give it a try. Maybe I can bring your father-in-law back to life. Everyone in the audience held their breath. Some looked angry, some looked sullen. But no one spoke a word, because they were indeed helpless against the fire poison of Mayor Zhu's father-in-law. At this moment, Liu Zuking suddenly raised her eyebrows. I always feel like there's some kind of energy fluctuation in this guy. Energy fluctuations? Zhu Hui raised his eyebrows. He knew that Li Zuking had an identity similar to that of a cultivator in this world in the plain of Tianjuan cotton and Sozu, who was not surprised at all that both Yu Zuking and Lin Qingle and Ji could easily defeat 10 people at once. What did you say? This energy fluctuation is similar to the toxin in the old man's body that hinders the healing of his wounds. If I am not mistaken, the old man has become what he is today. And this guy from the Blood Alliance has definitely contributed to it. As soon as these words came out, Zhu Hui was shocked. This is not something you can say. He swallowed sharply. Are you sure? I'm pretty sure the fluctuations are at least from the same source as the toxin in the old man's wound. If I'm not mistaken, the guy might be planning to use a liquid similar to magma to treat the old man. Yes. You know all this? You don't have X-ray vision, do you? Zhu Hui looked at the ice lotus empress twice more. Don't look at it. I don't have the ability to see through things. But there is a corresponding rule between the color of any substance and the wavelength that can reflect. Your physics has also summarized this. I can sense energy fluctuations, so I know this. So you are a human metal detector. Yu Hu smacked his lips. He had originally thought of buying some herbs and relying on Liu Zuking's method to take a risk and show off, but seeing that the people from the Blood Alliance were intervening, Zhu Hu suppressed his thoughts and decided to wait and see what would happen. For the time being, the cure or not to cure is entirely up to Mayor Zhu. But based on my observations during my years of medical practice, your father-in-law probably won't live for many days. If he doesn't get treatment today, he might die within 3 days. Zumeng's indifferent voice sounded again in the conference hall. Hearing this, Mayor Zhu suddenly looked up at him, his eyes full of anger. The patient's family was already worried, and Zumeng was adding fuel to the fire. He was simply despicable. You. Mayor Zhu gritted his teeth and looked around the venue again with an unwilling gaze. Unfortunately, no one stood up. A hint of disappointment inevitably flashed across Mayor Zhu's eyes. Zumeng seemed to know what Mayor Zhu was thinking, and sneered. I'm not saying that Mayor Zhu is being self-indulgent by placing his hopes on this group of Chinese entrepreneurs. Whether you are a doctor or not, in my ease, none of you can fight. Count on them. Zhu Meng didn't say the last sentence, but it still aroused the anger of all the entrepreneurs in the audience. Countless people couldn't help but curse, and their voices were filled with condemnation of Zhu Meng. But when Zhu Hua looked around, he still didn't see anyone standing up to confront Zhu Meng head-on. At this moment, Liu Zuqing beside Zhu Hua suddenly said calmly, "I'm sorry. Maybe you guessed wrong. If I were to challenge you to a duel, there is still someone who can give it a try. You said I have no objection to others. But you included me and my man in that, and I am not happy about that." Wow, at this moment, as the voice fell, countless people turned their heads to look in the direction of Liu Zuqing. Even Zhu Meng on the stage raised his eyebrows. "Zhu Hua, you go ahead. That guy's treatment plan is nothing more than relying on the homologous virus to forcibly prolong his life. If he is treated today, maybe the old man will live a few more days. But every day after that will be an excruciating pain." Liu Zuqing opened her red lips and said lightly, "Instead of that, why don't you go up and do the mayor a favor? Besides, I'm also a little unhappy with that guy.